Imagine this. You're lying in bed, your eyes just beginning to grow heavy, and you let your mind drift into the vast, dark canvas of space. Out there, beyond the familiar twinkle of stars, exists something so powerful, so enigmatic, that even light itself cannot escape it. A black hole. To some, it is the ultimate destroyer, a cosmic vacuum cleaner swallowing everything in its path. But what if? What if a black hole isn't the end at all? What if it's a doorway, a hidden gateway, to somewhere else? Maybe even another universe? That question, daring, mysterious, and unsettling, is what we will explore tonight. Welcome to this cosmic journey, designed not just to stir your curiosity, but also to gently ease you into relaxation, to let your thoughts wander as if they themselves were traveling through the folds of the universe. Close your eyes if you'd like, let your breathing slow, and imagine you're floating in the quiet darkness of space. No noise, no distractions, only the stars keeping you company, and one secret waiting in the shadows: the black hole. Before we dive into theories of portals and alternate universes, let's take a step back. What is a black hole, really? Scientists describe it as a region in space where gravity is so extreme that nothing, not even light, can escape its pull. It begins with a star, not an ordinary star, but a giant, massive one, far larger than our sun. When that star exhausts its fuel, it collapses under its own weight, crushing itself into a singularity, a single point of infinite density. Surrounding that singularity is what's called the event horizon, the invisible boundary that marks the point of no return. Cross it, and you are lost forever. At least, that's what we've been told. That's what our best equations suggest. But what happens beyond that event horizon? That's where mystery begins, where theories split into dozens of fascinating directions. Some say you'd be stretched and torn apart, like spaghetti, in a process scientists actually call spaghetti. Others believe matter might be preserved, transformed, or even transported somewhere else. It's here, in this unknown, that imagination and science begin to blur. Because maybe, just maybe, black holes aren't only hungry monsters. Maybe they are gateways, portals, cosmic passages leading us to other realms beyond our own. As we set the stage for this journey tonight, let's take a deep breath together. Inhale slowly, as if you're drawing in the cold, star-filled air of the galaxy. Exhale gently, as if you're letting go of the weight of Earth. Picture yourself drifting closer and closer toward a black hole, not with fear, but with wonder. Its gravity tugs at you, but so does its mystery. You're safe, you're calm, and you're ready to explore. The first 10 seconds we spent together introduced the mystery. But over the course of this story, we'll unfold it slowly, like pages of an ancient book. We'll talk about the science behind black holes, the mathematics, the discoveries, the breathtaking images captured by telescopes. We'll explore wild theories, Einstein-Rosen bridges, wormholes, multiverses, and we'll reflect on the human side of this cosmic puzzle. The myths, the philosophy, the deep yearning to understand whether black holes are endings, beginnings, or both. For now, allow yourself to simply imagine. If a black hole is a doorway, what might lie on the other side? Another star system, another version of our universe, or something so strange, so completely outside our comprehension, that even trying to picture it is like asking a fish to imagine fire. As you listen, let your body sink deeper into comfort. Let your thoughts drift, knowing that whether you fall asleep halfway through or stay awake until the end, the mystery of black holes will still be there, waiting for you, because the universe is patient, and the secrets of black holes, they've been waiting for billions of years. As we drift deeper into this thought, let's pause and consider the strangeness of black holes. They are unlike anything else in the cosmos. Stars shine, galaxies swirl, planets orbit. But black holes don't shine. They don't orbit in familiar ways. They simply sit there, invisible, pulling. Their presence is known only through what they do to their surroundings, bending light, warping space, pulling gas and stars into their darkness. Imagine a whirlpool in the middle of the ocean, except this whirlpool has no surface, no visible boundary. It is a trap woven into the very fabric of reality. Now picture yourself floating just beyond that boundary, the event horizon. You can see the stars behind you, their light stretching and bending, like reflections in a warped mirror. The black hole itself remains invisible, an absence, a silence, yet it dominates everything. There is something hypnotic about it, something that makes you wonder, if all things eventually collapse into this darkness, could this be the universe's way of recycling? Could this be the mechanism by which endings are transformed into beginnings? Scientists have long asked these questions, and the answers are still elusive. The most conventional view tells us that once you cross the event horizon, information is lost forever. But many physicists disagree. They argue that nothing is truly lost, that somewhere, somehow, information is preserved. Maybe it's stored on the event horizon itself, encoded like a cosmic hologram. Maybe it's funneled through to another place entirely. To some thinkers, this idea suggests that black holes are not the universe's trash bins, but its doorways. Doorways to where? Though that's where imagination steps in. Some theories propose that black holes might lead to white holes, theoretical opposites that spew matter and energy out instead of swallowing them in. Imagine stepping into a black hole and, instead of being crushed, emerging somewhere else, ejected into another corner of the cosmos. Or even further, stepping into a black hole in our universe and emerging into an entirely new universe. A parallel reality, with its own stars, its own galaxies, perhaps even its own versions of us. It's a mind-bending thought, but one that resonates with a deep human longing. The idea that death, endings, destruction, they might not be final. Instead, they could be transitions, bridges to something else. When we dream of black holes as gateways, we are not only talking about physics, but also about ourselves. We are expressing the hope that nothing truly ends. And here's the fascinating part. Black holes aren't rare. They're scattered throughout the cosmos, millions upon millions of them. Some are the remnants of stars, while others, called supermassive black holes, sit at the centers of galaxies, including our own Milky Way. These giants are millions, or even billions of times more massive than our sun. And yet they remain cloaked in mystery. Why are they there? How did they form? And if they are so common, doesn't that increase the possibility that they serve some greater purpose, something beyond destruction? As you listen, let your mind wander across these possibilities. Imagine countless black holes dotting the universe, each one a possible passageway, each one an unopened door. What would it mean if the cosmos is filled not with dead ends, but with gateways? To bring this closer to home, think of the first image humanity ever captured of a black hole. And maybe AHO is the key here. Because black holes are not only about equations and physics, they are also about wonder. They remind us of how small we are, and yet how capable we are of reaching out into the unknown. They are the universe's way of saying, there is more. More than we know, more than we see, more than we can perhaps ever comprehend. So tonight, as we ease into this journey, let's carry that sense of awe with us. Let's treat black holes not as monsters, but as mysteries. Not as endings, but as questions. Questions that might have answers waiting beyond the veil of the event horizon. Close your eyes again. If they're not already, feel yourself drifting even closer. The stars stretch into streaks of light. Space itself seems to ripple. You are not afraid. You are curious. And in that curiosity lies the beginning of a story. A story not just about black holes, but about the possibility that they are the bridges to other universes. We are just beginning to step through the doorway. As we continue drifting toward this mysterious doorway, let's take a moment to imagine what it would feel like if black holes truly were gateways. Suppose you are on a starship, silent and steady, approaching one of these cosmic giants. The closer you get, the more space itself begins to distort. Stars behind the black hole bend and swirl, forming arcs of light. Time itself feels strange. Seconds stretching, moments lingering, as if the clock no longer ticks the same way. You feel suspended between realities, on the threshold of something unimaginable. This threshold is where science and imagination collide. Physicists often describe black holes in terms of equations and mathematics, but even they admit that equations are only glimpses, fragments of a truth too vast to fully capture. Beyond the event horizon, our theories falter. General relativity tells us one thing, quantum mechanics another. And neither can fully explain what happens when matter collapses into infinity. It's here, in this gap, that the idea of black holes as gateways thrives. Think of Albert Einstein and Nathan Rosen, who once proposed the concept of what we now call wormholes. Their equations suggested that black holes might be connected to white holes through a tunnel in spacetime, a bridge linking to points that could be far apart, even in different universes. Later, physicists expanded on this, calling them Einstein-Rosen bridges. To this day, no one has proven they exist, but the mathematics doesn't forbid them, and that's enough to keep our imagination alive. So when we talk about black holes as possible gateways, we're not spinning fantasies from thin air. We're following trails laid down by the brightest minds in science. We're asking, what if Einstein's bridge isn't just a thought experiment? What if somewhere, hidden deep inside a black hole, lies a tunnel to another reality? As you let that thought sink in, think also about how it makes you feel. Because at its heart, this isn't only about physics. It's about the human desire to know, to see what lies beyond. For centuries, people have stared into the night sky, wondering what's out there. Black holes represent the deepest version of that question. Not just what's beyond the stars, but what's beyond the very structure of reality itself. And this is where the mystery becomes soothing. Strange as it may sound, the unknown can be comforting. It reminds us that no matter how much we think we've figured out, there is always more to discover. That life, like the universe, is full of doors waiting to be opened. Black holes are the ultimate symbol of that mystery. And tonight, as you listen, they can become your symbol of rest, of drifting beyond the ordinary into a dreamscape of possibility. So take another slow breath, as if you are inhaling the quiet of the cosmos itself. Imagine the darkness of the black hole, not as threatening, but as peaceful. a place where the noise of the universe fades and all that remains is the possibility of something new. Whether it is another galaxy, another universe, or simply the unknown, it waits calmly, patiently, beyond that horizon. As we close this introduction, let's return to that original question. What if black holes are not the end, but the beginning of something greater? What if every shadow in the sky hides a doorway, and every ending is really a passage to another world? That's the journey we'll take together. Slowly, gently, as if we ourselves are slipping through the event horizon, carried by curiosity into the quiet mystery beyond. Tonight, let's not fear the black hole. Let's dream with it. Let's let it guide us into the possibility that endings are illusions, and that somewhere, perhaps just one breath away, lies another universe waiting to be discovered. You are safe, you are calm. And the story has only just begun. When scientists first began to suspect the existence of black holes, the idea sounded more like science fiction than science. The story begins with Einstein's theory of general relativity in 1915. According to Einstein, gravity isn't just a force pulling objects together, but a curvature of space and time itself. Imagine space-time as a giant invisible fabric. Planets, stars, and galaxies rest on this fabric like bowling balls on a trampoline, bending it under their weight. The larger the object, the deeper the curve. But what happens when something becomes so dense, so massive, that the fabric of space-time folds into itself? That's where the idea of a singularity comes in, a point where density becomes infinite, where the laws of physics as we know them simply stop working. At the center of a black hole lies this singularity, wrapped in the invisible cloak of the event horizon. For decades, the concept was theoretical. Many scientists doubted black holes were real. They seemed extreme, too bizarre to exist in nature. But slowly, evidence began to mount. In the 1960s, astronomers discovered quasars, incredibly bright objects shining from the hearts of distant galaxies. These sources of light were billions of times brighter than the sun, yet packed into regions smaller than our solar system. Nothing, they realized, could power such luminosity except for supermassive black holes feeding on surrounding gas and stars. When matter falls toward a black hole, it forms an accretion disk, a swirling whirlpool of particles heated to millions of degrees. This disk radiates energy, sometimes even blasting jets of material thousands of light-years into space. Far from being invisible, black holes revealed themselves by the fireworks they caused around them. By the 1970s, theorists like Stephen Hawking pushed the boundaries even further. Hawking suggested that black holes might not be entirely black. Quantum effects near the event horizon could allow black holes to emit tiny amounts of radiation, now known as Hawking radiation. This meant that, over immense timescales, black holes might slowly evaporate. Not eternal destroyers, but slowly fading entities. And then came 2015, a turning point in astronomy. The Laser Interferometer Gravitational Wave Observatory, LIGO, detected ripples in spacetime itself, gravitational waves, caused by two black holes colliding. It was the first time humanity had heard black holes, not through light, but through the vibrations of reality itself. Then, in 2019, the Event Horizon Telescope gave us our first ever image of a black hole's shadow, a glowing ring surrounding darkness, captured from 55 million light-years away. It was proof, etched in photons, that black holes were not just theoretical monsters but real, tangible features of our universe. But here's where things get even stranger. Despite all this progress, one central question remains unanswered. What happens inside a black hole? General relativity tells us that everything collapses to the singularity. Quantum mechanics insists that information cannot be destroyed. These two ideas crash into each other like titans. Reconciling them has led to some of the most daring theories in science, including the possibility that black holes might act as bridges, tunnels, or gateways. To truly appreciate the idea of black holes as portals, we need to understand the science that hints at it. The mathematics of relativity allows for wormholes, tunnels connecting to distant regions of spacetime. In principle, a black hole could be the entry point of such a tunnel, and a white hole, the exit. While no one has ever observed a white hole, the equations suggest they could exist. And this is where imagination meets possibility. Could black holes be more than just endings? Could they be beginnings? Could they be doorways to realms beyond our universe? As you sink deeper into this story tonight, let your mind rest on that question. Imagine the black hole not only as a graveyard of stars, but as a secret passage waiting to be unlocked. When we talk about black holes as possible gateways, the question often comes down to this: how far can we stretch the laws of physics before they break? Because the fascinating thing about Einstein's equations is that they forbade the existence of wormholes, tunnels through space and time. In fact, when Einstein and his collaborator Nathan Rosen first explored the math, they realized that certain solutions to relativity describe a kind of bridge, linking to separate regions of spacetime. These are what we now call Einstein-Rosen bridges, or wormholes. On paper, a wormhole might work like this. Imagine spacetime as a sheet of paper. Normally, to get from one point to another, you trace along the sheet, traveling the long way around. But if you fold the paper, suddenly the 2 points touch, and you can draw a tunnel straight through. That's what a wormhole would be, a shortcut across the cosmos. And if black holes are involved, one could act as the entry point, the dark maw pulling you in. On the other side, perhaps, would be a white hole, spewing matter and energy out in a distant corner of the universe, or in an entirely different universe altogether. Of course, the practical problems are immense. Wormholes, if they exist, would be unstable, collapsing faster than light could travel through them. To hold one open, you'd need something called exotic matter, a substance with negative energy density, something we've never observed in nature. And yet, scientists keep returning to the idea because the mathematics of relativity doesn't close the door on it. The possibility remains, like a whisper in the equations. And whispers matter, because throughout history, many of humanity's greatest discoveries began as whispers, hints, anomalies, strange results that refuse to go away. For black holes, the whispers are everywhere. They appear in quantum paradoxes, in the mathematics of relativity, even in the way information might be stored on the event horizon. Each of these mysteries seems to suggest that black holes are not what they appear to be. Let's consider the information paradox for a moment. According to relativity, anything falling into a black hole is gone forever. But according to quantum mechanics, information, the fundamental details about particles and their states, can never be destroyed. If both theories are right, what happens to the information swallowed by a black hole? Some physicists propose that the information is smeared across the event horizon, preserved like a hologram. Others argue that it may leak out slowly through Hawking radiation, encoded in subtle patterns we don't yet understand. But there is another possibility, that the information doesn't vanish, and doesn't stay here, but instead passes through to somewhere else, to another universe. Picture it. Every black hole in our universe as a kind of seed, planting matter and energy into a new cosmos. Our own universe, perhaps born from a black hole in another. This is a radical idea, but one that some cosmologists take seriously. It's called cosmological natural selection. In this view, black holes don't just destroy, they create. They might even be the reproductive system of the multiverse. The implications are staggering. If true, it would mean that our universe is not alone. It might be one of countless universes, each giving birth to others through black holes, each with its own laws of physics, its own galaxies, its own stories. And when we look at the night sky and see black holes as voids, we may in fact be staring at the cradles of new worlds. It's easy to feel small in the face of such ideas, but smallness is not the same as insignificance. If black holes connect us to other universes, then we are part of something unimaginably vast. Our questions, our curiosity, even our doubts, they all become part of the great human effort to peer through the darkness. So tonight, as you rest and let these thoughts wash over you, imagine black holes, not only as cosmic mysteries, but as cosmic possibilities. Imagine that every one of them is a locked door, and science is the key slowly turning in the lock. Behind those doors could lie endless realms, waiting for us, or for those who come after us to discover. Take another breath. Feel the calm of the stars, the stillness of the void, and know that even in the silence, the universe is whispering its secrets. The deeper you dive into the physics of black holes, the more they start to feel like puzzles deliberately designed to test the limits of our imagination. They are not just places where matter falls in and light cannot escape. They are places where our two most powerful theories, general relativity and quantum mechanics, collide head-on, refusing to reconcile. And in that clash, new possibilities emerge. Consider the event horizon. It's often described as a boundary, but it isn't a physical surface you could touch. Instead, it's a point of no return, defined entirely by geometry. Cross it, and escape becomes impossible. But from an outside perspective, time itself appears to slow as you approach the horizon. To an observer watching from far away, you never actually fall in. You freeze on the edge, stretched and distorted, forever lingering at the threshold. This strange duality suggests that black holes are more than just destructive pits. They mirrors of the laws of physics themselves. For some scientists, this is a clue that black holes could act as portals, not because they break the rules, but because they are the rules, pushed to their most extreme form. There's a haunting beauty in the idea. Imagine a traveler approaching a black hole, knowing that from their perspective they would cross into the unknown, while to everyone else they'd appear frozen in time, never quite gone. In a sense, they would exist in two states at once, here and beyond, alive in memory but lost to the horizon. This image feels less like science and more like poetry, but sometimes the universe demands we embrace both. Now, let's return to wormholes. The notion that black holes could be connected to white holes is more than speculation. In 2019, researchers published models suggesting that what we perceive as a black hole might actually transition into a white hole after an incredibly long time, spitting out the information it once consumed. If true, this would preserve the laws of quantum mechanics and transform black holes from dead ends into doorways. But even if wormholes don't exist naturally, some physicists argue they could be engineered. With enough exotic matter, again, the elusive substance with negative energy density, a wormhole might be stabilized, allowing travel not just across space, but possibly into other universes. Theoretically, it could work. The question is, would we survive the trip? Inside the throat of a wormhole, space-time would twist and contort in ways our bodies aren't built to endure. Radiation levels would spike to unimaginable heights. Tidal forces might tear atoms apart. But there's a chance, a narrow, fragile chance, that under the right conditions, passage could be safe. That's why some physicists, quietly, without the fanfare of science fiction, continue to run simulations, asking what it would take to turn possibility into reality. And here's where the mystery deepens. Because even as we struggle to understand the physics, we are constantly reminded of how little we know about the universe at large. Dark matter, dark energy. These invisible forces make up more than 95% of everything, yet we have no idea what they really are. Could they, somehow, play a role in stabilizing cosmic gateways? Could the invisible scaffolding of the universe be the key we're missing? It's a humbling thought. The cosmos has written its secrets into the very fabric of reality, and we are only beginning to decipher them. We are like children standing before a locked chest, rattling it, listening to the echoes inside, desperate to know what treasures it holds. Yet science is not just about answers, it's also about patience, about learning to live with uncertainty, about recognizing that the mysteries we face are not signs of failure, but invitations. Each paradox, each strange observation, is the universe beckoning us to look closer. So when we say black holes might be gateways, we are not simply indulging in fantasy. We are acknowledging that the story is not finished, that our models are incomplete, that the universe itself might be more layered, more interconnected, than we ever dared to dream. Imagine drifting off to sleep tonight with this thought. Every black hole could be a window, not just into other places, but into deeper truths about existence. Maybe, just maybe, the universe has designed these enigmatic objects as tests, thresholds that demand we expand our thinking before we can step through. Take a breath, let your mind float on the edges of that horizon. Feel the balance between wonder and uncertainty. And remember, science is not about closing the door on mystery, but about learning how to walk through it. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine this. You're lying beneath the vast night sky. Stars scattered like glowing embers across an infinite canvas. Somewhere out there, in the places our telescopes cannot see, a black hole waits silently. Its gravity bends light, warps time, and hides its heart behind the event horizon. But what if beyond that veil lies not destruction, but creation? What if every black hole is not an ending, but a beginning and opening to somewhere else entirely? This is where the idea of the multiverse steps in, a concept that has fascinated philosophers, physicists, and dreamers for generations. The multiverse suggests that our universe is not unique, not solitary, but one of countless universes. Each might have its own laws of physics, its own version of reality. And, intriguingly, black holes may be the bridges that connect them. The idea begins with a simple but profound question. Where does everything go when it crosses a black hole's horizon? In classical physics, the answer is disappointing. It's gone, forever lost, crushed into a singularity. But modern theories suggest that energy and information cannot simply vanish. Nature keeps its records. So where does the story continue? One possibility is that it continues in another universe, perhaps birthed in the moment a black hole forms. Picture it, a massive star collapses under its own weight. Instead of producing only a black hole, that collapse might also trigger the expansion of a new universe, sealed away from ours, invisible to our senses. From the outside, we see only the black hole. But inside, on the other side of that horizon, there may be a cosmos just as vast as ours, with galaxies, stars, even life of its own. This concept is sometimes called cosmological natural selection, proposed by physicist Lee Smolin. He suggested that universes might reproduce through black holes, each new universe carrying slightly altered physical constants, much like genetic mutations in living organisms. In this view, our universe exists because its laws happen to favor the formation of stars and black holes, which in turn give birth to further universes. It's a cosmic family tree, branching endlessly into the unknown. And though this sounds like science fiction, it emerges naturally from our best equations. The mathematics of general relativity does not forbid such possibilities. In fact, certain solutions to Einstein's equations imply that what looks like a black hole from one perspective could be a white hole from another. An explosion, a big bang, giving rise to an entirely separate domain of reality. Of course, we can't step inside and check. No probe can survive the journey past the horizon. But that limitation has never stopped human curiosity. Instead, it pushes us to imagine, to model, to ask questions that reach far beyond our current grasp. If every black hole might be the seed of a new universe, then our own universe could be the child of another. Our Big Bang might not have been the absolute beginning, but a continuation of a chain stretching backward through eternity. Let that idea settle in as you breathe slowly and relax. You are part of something unimaginably vast, a cosmos that may itself be one branch of an infinite tree. When you look at the night sky, you're not just seeing stars, you're peering into a system of universes stacked upon universes, all woven together by the mysterious fabric of black holes. The multiverse hypothesis is controversial. Yes, some scientists dismiss it as after all, if these other universes are sealed off from us, how could we ever detect them? But others argue that subtle clues might be hidden in the cosmic microwave background, the faint afterglow of our Big Bang. If our universe once brushed against another, ripples or scars might linger in that radiation. Searching for those marks has become a real pursuit in modern cosmology, and while we don't yet have conclusive evidence, the mere possibility is enough to transform the way we think about existence. No longer are we the center of all that is. No longer is our universe the singular stage of reality. Instead, we are participants in a cosmic drama whose scale defies comprehension. Black holes are not just shadows, they are gateways, symbols of a universe that refuses to be confined to a single chapter. So as you drift deeper into this story tonight, imagine falling gently toward the horizon of a black hole, not with fear, but with curiosity. Beyond that darkness might lie a new dawn, a new universe waiting to be born. Somewhere, perhaps, another version of you is looking up at another sky, wondering the same questions, dreaming the same dreams. And maybe, just maybe, black holes are the bridges between those infinite reflections. Think about what it would mean if every black hole spawned a new universe. In some sense, that would make black holes the ultimate creators. We tend to think of them as devourers, endpoints that swallow everything without mercy. But what if they are also wombs of creation? When a massive star dies, collapsing under the weight of its own gravity, maybe it doesn't just leave behind a tomb. Maybe it opens a door, one that leads to something unimaginably vast. Now, this is where the mind begins to wander into truly strange territory. Imagine a universe in which the laws of physics are not quite the same as ours. In one universe, gravity could be stronger, pulling matter together more quickly, shortening the lifespan of stars. In another, it might be weaker, allowing galaxies to drift apart so far that stars never form at all. In yet another, chemistry might work differently. Atoms might combine in ways we cannot even imagine, giving rise to forms of matter and energy that would look alien to us. In this view, universes are like experiments. Each black hole produces a new one, each with slightly different rules. And only those that happen to create stable stars and planets will develop long enough to form structures, and maybe even life. It is a chilling but beautiful idea. We exist because we are inside one of the rare universes where conditions allow complexity to flourish. Let me pause here. Take a slow breath, and picture that chain of creation stretching across eternity. Our universe, born from another. And within our cosmos, billions upon billions of black holes, each potentially giving birth to new universes. It is a fractal of existence, expanding endlessly, like mirrors reflecting into infinity. Each reflection is slightly different, but all part of the same mysterious whole. Now, you might wonder if black holes are gateways. Why haven't we seen any evidence of these new universes? That's the paradox. From our side, the event horizon hides everything. We can only see matter falling in, never what happens beyond. But some physicists have proposed that the information doesn't vanish. Instead, it gets encoded on the surface of the horizon, stored in what's called the holographic principle. If that principle is true, then our universe itself might be like a projection, information written on a higher dimensional surface, playing out as the reality we know. And in that case, black holes are not only bridges to other universes, they're also windows into the deepest architecture of reality. This brings us to another tantalizing idea. What if black holes in our universe are connected, like tunnels, to other places? We call these wormholes. A wormhole is a theoretical passage through space-time, linking to distant points. If black holes can create universes, maybe they can also serve as shortcuts between them. And though wormholes remain speculative, the equations of relativity allow them. In fact, some solutions suggest that what looks like a black hole from one side could appear as a white hole, the reverse, spewing matter and energy on the other. To us, a white hole seems impossible. But if it exists in another universe, maybe it's simply the other end of one of our black holes. Take a moment and picture that. Somewhere, in a universe we cannot reach, a white hole erupts in a flood of light and matter. That explosion could be their Big Bang, their beginning. And from our side, it's simply the moment when a star collapsed into a black hole. One death, one birth, bound together across universes. This isn't just philosophy. Some scientists argue that if this is true, it could explain why the constants of nature are so finely tuned for life. The speed of light, the strength of gravity, the charge of the electron, tiny changes in these values would make our universe uninhabitable. But if countless universes exist, each with slightly different values, then it is no surprise that we find ourselves in one where the numbers line up just right. It's not a miracle, it's statistics. Out of infinite possibilities, at least one was bound to allow beings like us to exist and wonder about it all. And yet, even in the middle of these scientific ideas, there's something deeply human about the way we imagine them. Black holes, as mothers of universes, as cosmic wombs, it makes us think of cycles, birth and death, endings and beginnings. It makes the universe feel alive, like it is not just machinery but a living process, unfolding in patterns we barely understand. So, as you're listening now, drifting gently toward sleep, let yourself imagine these vast possibilities. Imagine that the universe, with all its stars and galaxies, is just one petal of a flower with endless blossoms. Imagine that beyond every black hole lies a doorway, and beyond that doorway, are realities so different, so strange, and yet so beautiful, that our minds can only brush the edges of it. Perhaps, in some way, you are connected to those other realms. Perhaps when we dream, when our thoughts wander beyond the constraints of physics, we catch faint echoes of those parallel places. If black holes are bridges, maybe our imagination is the first step across them. And maybe, just maybe, you've already been there in another universe, living another life, under another sky. The multiverse, as connected to black holes, may feel like an abstract theory, but let's ground it in something familiar. Think about a tree. From the outside, you see the trunk solid singular. But from that trunk, countless branches extend, each splitting again and again into smaller limbs. From each limb grow leaves, each leaf unique, yet all part of the same tree. Our universe might be like one of those leaves. And black holes, they could be the branches, channels through which new leaves, new universes, emerge. It's humbling, isn't it? To think that our entire reality, everything we know, could be just one of an uncountable number of leaves on this cosmic tree. And if that's true, then the question naturally arises, can we ever communicate with these other universes? Could black holes somehow be the key to traveling between them? For now, the answer seems to be no. The gravity of a black hole is so intense that nothing, not even light, can escape once it crosses the horizon. But science is full of surprises. A century ago, people believed time was absolute. Then Einstein came along and showed us that time bends, stretches, and warps under gravity. Perhaps, one day, we'll discover that black holes are not just dead ends, but tunnels. Perhaps we'll find ways to glimpse what lies beyond, even if we can never cross ourselves. There is another possibility that adds a darker twist to this story. Some scientists suggest that if black holes create new universes, then the physics of those universes might favor the creation of more black holes. Over countless generations, universes that produce more black holes outcompete those that don't. In this way, universes might evolve, just as species evolve on Earth. And if that's the case, then perhaps our universe exists not by accident, but because it is especially good at making black holes. That's a strange thought. Everything we see, the stars, the galaxies, even ourselves, might be byproducts of a universe that wants to create black holes. Life, intelligence, even love could all be side effects of a deeper cosmic drive. The reproduction of universes through black holes. But don't let that make you feel insignificant. If this vision is correct, it doesn't reduce our meaning, it expands it. We are not just accidents of physics. We are participants in a grand process of cosmic evolution. The universe needed stars to form black holes. It needed chemistry to make those stars, and it needed life, eventually, to look up and ask these questions. You are part of that story, woven into the same tapestry that stretches across universes. Close your eyes for a moment and breathe. Imagine yourself floating in the silent dark, drifting near the edge of a black hole. Around you, space itself bends like liquid. Stars warp into arcs of light. Time slows, and there, beyond the darkness, another universe waits, like a dream just out of reach. You cannot step into it, but you can feel the mystery, the sense that the cosmos is more than it seems. When we talk about black holes as gateways, we are not just talking about physics, we are talking about imagination. Because imagination is the one place we can go anywhere, even into other universes. Every story you hear, every dream you have, is a kind of journey into a different reality. Maybe that's why these ideas resonate so deeply with us. The multiverse isn't just a scientific theory, it's a reflection of our longing for discovery, for connection, for the possibility that we are not alone. And maybe we aren't. If countless universes exist, then there may be other beings, shaped by other laws of physics, asking their own questions about existence. We will never meet them, not directly, but in some sense, their presence is implied. If the cosmos is infinite, then so is possibility. Somewhere, in some universe, there could be life beyond anything we can imagine, beings of light, or thought, or matter we do not recognize. All of these possibilities, spring from the simple act of looking at a black hole and wondering, what if it isn't just an ending? What if it's a door? So, as you drift deeper into rest, let yourself wander through those doors. Let your mind explore the universes beyond universes. See them blooming like endless stars, each one unique, each one alive in its own way. The black holes we fear may, in truth, be the gateways to infinity. And as the night carries you into dreams, remember this: the universe you know is vast, but it may only be one note in a cosmic symphony, one chapter in an infinite story. And the black holes that haunt the darkness may be the very keys that unlock the rest of the song. Imagine for a moment that you are sitting at the edge of a quiet lake at night. The surface of the water reflects the stars above, shimmering gently, but the reflection is not perfect. There are ripples, distortions, slight waves that suggest something unseen moving beneath the surface. That's how many scientists think of our universe, a reflection of something deeper, something more fundamental. And black holes may be the ripples that hint at those hidden depths. In our journey so far, we've asked what lies inside a black hole. We've wondered if they might create new universes, each with its own physical laws. Now, let's turn to another question. If black holes truly connect us to other realms, what might those realms be like? What kind of universes could exist beyond the veil? The possibilities are staggering. Some physicists suggest that the multiverse could contain universes with dimensions beyond the 3 of space and 1 of time that we know. Imagine living in a universe with 5 or 6 dimensions, where objects might twist and turn in ways we cannot visualize, where beings could move not just forward and backward, up and down, left and right, but along axes of motion we cannot comprehend. To us, their existence would be invisible, like shadows passing through walls we didn't even know were there. Other universes might have different fundamental constants. In ours, atoms form because protons and electrons are held together by electromagnetic forces. But in a universe with slightly different values, maybe atoms couldn't form at all. Matter, as we know it, wouldn't exist. Instead, reality, there could be a sea of energy, ever shifting, never solid. Or perhaps particles combine in ways that create entirely new kinds of chemistry, new elements that don't exist here. Out of those elements, new forms of life might emerge, built on foundations we could barely imagine. Picture for a moment a universe where stars are not powered by nuclear fusion, but by some other process entirely. Maybe their skies glow with colors we cannot see, infrared or ultraviolet stretched into brilliance. Maybe their galaxies spin differently, shaped by gravitational rules unlike our own. From our perspective, these universes might seem alien beyond recognition, but to the beings who live there, if any do it, would feel as natural as our world feels to us. And then there is the idea that some of these universes might be almost identical to ours. This is the concept of the parallel universe or many worlds theory. In this vision, every choice creates a branch in new universe splitting off where events unfolded differently. Somewhere, there could be another version of you, listening to this same story but living a slightly different life. Maybe you chose another career, or live in another city, or simply wore a different shirt today. Multiply that across every decision made by every person, every atom, every particle, and the branches become infinite. If black holes are truly gateways, they might not only connect us to universes with different physical laws, but also to parallel versions of our own. Imagine stepping through such a gateway and meeting another version of yourself. Would you recognize them? Would they recognize you? Would they feel familiar, or utterly alien? These questions aren't just speculation, they've inspired countless stories, myths, and works of science fiction, precisely because they speak to something deep in our imagination. Let yourself breathe deeply as you think about this. The night sky is not just vast, it may be layered, like pages in a book. We can read only our page, but black holes might be the binding that holds the book together, connecting stories we cannot yet see. Even more astonishing is the thought that our universe could be inside a black hole itself. Some cosmologists propose that the Big Bang, the sudden, mysterious birth of everything we know, was not the beginning of all things, but the other side of a collapse in another universe. To them, our cosmos might be the baby universe born from a black hole in some larger parent universe. If that's true, then the cycle continues endlessly. Stars collapse, black holes form, new universes are born, and within those universes, new stars eventually collapse again, creating still more universes. It's an infinite loop of creation, a cosmic heartbeat echoing across eternity. Take a moment and imagine that heartbeat. Boom, a star dies. Boom, a new universe is born. Boom, within that universe, new stars form. And on, forever. You and I are simply tiny notes in that endless rhythm, carried along by forces so vast they are almost impossible to comprehend. But even as these ideas stretch the limits of science and imagination, they also circle back to something deeply human. Because what we are really asking, when we wonder about other universes, is, are we alone? Not just in the sense of aliens in our galaxy, but alone in existence itself. If there are other universes, then we are not the whole story. We are not the center of all that is. We are part of something larger, something infinite. And in that realization, there is both humility and comfort. As you relax into the thought, feel the vastness opening around you. Black holes are no longer just cosmic monsters, they are invitations. Invitations to consider that existence is richer, deeper, and more mysterious than we ever imagined. And as you drift deeper into rest, perhaps you'll find yourself walking through one of those gateways, exploring the endless possibilities of worlds beyond worlds. Imagine for a moment that you are standing at the edge of a great forest at night. The trees rise tall, their branches tangled, their shadows deep. You can only see a few feet ahead, but you know there are countless paths hidden inside, waiting to be explored. That's what scientists think of when they talk about the multiverse, an endless forest of universes, each with its own trails, its own mysteries, its own stories. Black holes, in this analogy, might be the secret doorways that take us from one path into another, from one forest into another forest entirely. Now let's go deeper into what it might mean to pass through such a doorway. If black holes are portals, the journey itself is unlike anything we can truly imagine. Time, as we know it, breaks down. In the intense gravity of a black hole, clocks slow. For someone outside, watching from a distance, it would look as though you froze at the edge forever, never crossing the boundary. But from your perspective, time continues. You fall inward, deeper and deeper, and in just a moment you may reach what lies beyond. That paradox that time can appear to stop and yet continue is a hint of how strange the multiverse might be. In another universe, perhaps time flows in loops, repeating endlessly, with no beginning and no end. In another, time could flow backward, so that cause follows effect, and people live lives in reverse ending before they begin. If black holes connect us to such realms, stepping through would not just take you to another place, but another kind of existence entirely. Scientists often describe the inside of a black hole as a place where our equations break down, where known physics fails, but perhaps it is not failure, is transition. The mathematics may look broken because we are trying to describe a doorway while standing outside. Once inside, the rules might be perfectly consistent, just different from those we know. In this way, black holes are like cosmic borders between countries we cannot yet visit. We glimpse the mountains in the distance, but the passport we carry, our current understanding of physics, cannot yet get us across. But curiosity pushes us to imagine what might be on the other side. Could another universe contain versions of life unlike any we've ever known? In our universe, life depends on carbon, water, and energy from stars. But in another, life could be made of silicon, or plasma, or patterns of magnetic fields that think and dream in ways we cannot perceive. Maybe life there doesn't breathe, or move, or age, but flickers like lightning across a sky that never darkens. And if we truly could pass through, what would it feel like? Perhaps the journey through a black hole would not be violent at all, but gentle, like falling asleep and waking up in a new world. You might close your eyes in one universe and open them in another, surrounded by colors, sounds, and sensations unlike anything you've ever known. In that moment, would you even remember where you came from? Or would the new reality feel so complete that it would seem as if it had always been your home? There's another idea that universes connected by black holes may influence each other. In this view, black holes aren't just one-way doors, but channels through which energy, information, or even subtle echoes can pass. Maybe the mysterious dark matter in our universe is actually matter from another universe, leaking through in ways we can't fully detect. Maybe strange cosmic signals we hear, bursts of energy, or odd alignments of galaxies, or whispers from universes that lie just beyond the veil. If that's true, then the universe is not silent. It is in conversation with itself, across dimensions, across realities, across an infinite sea of existence. We are simply too small to understand the language, but that does not mean the conversation isn't happening. Think of standing at the shore of an ocean. You hear the waves, but beneath the sound are layers of movement, currents, tides, rhythms that shape the sea. The multiverse might be like that. Layers of reality moving and interacting in ways we cannot see, but which shape everything we know. Black holes, then, are like whirlpools that momentarily reveal the deeper currents, giving us a glimpse into the flow beneath. As you breathe slowly and deeply, let yourself imagine drifting into one of those currents, carried gently into a new universe. You might see stars unlike any you've known, the skies painted in colors your eyes cannot name, or landscapes where the very laws of nature bend in unfamiliar ways. Yet in that strangeness, there may also be beauty, harmony, and balance, just as there is here. The multiverse, in its infinite diversity, may also be infinitely beautiful. And perhaps, at its heart, all of it is connected. Just as rivers lead to oceans and forests give way to mountains, all universes may be part of a greater whole. Black holes are not just dangerous abysses, they are the threads stitching reality together. When you look up at the night sky, you are not just seeing stars, but tiny portals to a cosmic network that stretches far beyond what we can imagine. When we try to picture the multiverse, our minds reach their limits. We are used to thinking of space as something vast, but still measurable, something with edges that expand and galaxies within. But the multiverse suggests a reality so much greater that even our words universe, infinity, eternity falls short. Imagine a library, but not a library of books. A library of universes, each one a volume, bound in the fabric of space-time, telling a different story. Some universes may be short stories, burning brightly but briefly. Others may be epics, sprawling across billions of years, and the black holes. They may be the doors between the shelves, hidden entrances that allow one story to bleed into another. In this metaphor, our universe is only one book, one story among countless others. It feels complete to us because it is all we know. But just as a single book cannot contain the entirety of literature, our universe may not hold the fullness of reality. To discover what lies beyond, we must be willing to imagine the unimaginable. Some scientists argue that if universes are connected, there may be subtle signatures, faint fingerprints that betray their presence. For example, patterns in the cosmic microwave background. The afterglow of the Big Bang might carry scars from collisions with other universes, like bubbles bumping against each other in a cosmic foam. These collisions might leave marks, ripples in the fabric of our own cosmos. If black holes connect worlds, perhaps their very presence is evidence of this greater structure. Holes where one bubble touches another. Now let's take a slower breath and let your imagination drift. Picture yourself floating at the edge of a black hole, not with fear, but with calm curiosity. Around you, stars swirl in slow spirals, their light bent into arcs by the immense gravity. Time feels soft, stretched, as though each second contains eternity. You take a step closer, and in that step, the universe seems to pause, waiting. Then, instead of falling, you glide, as if carried on a gentle current. The darkness does not consume you, it welcomes you. On the other side, you awaken to a universe both familiar and strange. Stars shine, but in colors you cannot describe. Space hums with a low vibration, as though reality itself is singing. Planets orbit in patterns that seem like music, and time flows not in a line, but in a spiral, coiling and uncoiling in rhythms that echo through every moment. You are not lost. You are part of something vast, something alive. This vision may sound like pure fantasy, but it speaks to something deeper in us. The longing to believe that our reality is not the limit, that there are hidden doors leading to wonders beyond. Black holes embody that longing. They are the most extreme objects we know, yet also the most mysterious. They dare us to ask, what if this is not the end? What if it is the beginning of something greater? There is also a poetic symmetry here. Stars, after all, give birth to black holes when they die. Out of their collapse, something entirely new is created. Death becomes a gateway. Perhaps universes, too, are born this way. When a star dies, it may create a black hole. When a universe dies, it may give rise to another. In this cycle, black holes are not destroyers, but creators, the cosmic seeds from which new realities grow. As you listen, let yourself sink into this possibility. The night sky is no longer just a scattering of stars, but a web of doorways. Each black hole is a question mark written across the heavens, inviting us to dream of what lies beyond. We may never have the tools to answer those questions fully. Yet in wondering, we are already participating in the mystery. The multiverse may remain forever, hidden from us. Or perhaps, one day, science will build a new kind of understanding, a way of decoding the language of gravity and spacetime, so that we can finally read the story written between the universes. Until then, we hold close the gift of imagination, the ability to dream of infinite possibilities, while lying under the stars, letting the vastness of the cosmos soothe us into rest. So, as this part of our journey draws to a close, take another deep breath. Let the mystery of the black hole settle gently in your mind. Think of it not as a terrifying void, but as a passageway to possibility, a cosmic threshold where endings and beginnings merge. You may never step through one, but in your dreams, in your thoughts, you already have. And perhaps, in some corner of the multiverse, another version of you is looking back, wondering the same thing, imagining the same doorway. Since the dawn of human history, we've told stories about doorways. From the flickering light of ancient campfires to the glowing screens of our modern age, we've woven myths about hidden paths that lead to realms beyond our own. Black holes, in many ways, are the latest chapter in that timeless story. They are the modern embodiment of an old human dream, the dream of stepping through a threshold into a world of mystery. In ancient myths, these thresholds took many forms. The Greeks spoke of Hades. The underworld reached through dark caverns and hidden rivers. The Norse imagined Yggdrasil, the great tree whose roots and branches connected not just the earth, but 9 different realms of existence. In Hindu cosmology, universes themselves were cycles, created and destroyed endlessly, with time looping through unimaginable spans. In each of these visions, there is the idea of passage, from life to death, from one realm to another, from one cycle of creation to the next. What makes these stories endure is their emotional resonance. They capture something deeply human, the sense that what we see is not all there is, that behind the curtain of the visible world lies another stage, waiting. Black holes feel like that curtain. They are mysterious veils drawn across the night sky, daring us to wonder what lies behind them. And notice how these myths often carry both fear and wonder. The underworld is frightening, but also fascinating. The idea of parallel realms is unsettling, but also hopeful. Black holes echo this duality. They are terrifying in their power, yet magnetic in their allure. We cannot resist the urge to look closer, even as we know they represent forces that could tear stars apart. In literature, two gateways have always captured our imagination. Think of Alice falling through the rabbit hole, tumbling into a land of wonder and strangeness. Think of the wardrobe in the Chronicles of Narnia, opening into a snowy forest under a lamppost. Think of portals in science fiction, from Star Trek's wormholes to the shimmering stargates of television. These stories give shape to our longing to step out of the ordinary and into the extraordinary. Black holes, in our modern scientific imagination, are portals that could make such tales real. They take what has always lived in myth and fiction and place it in the cosmos itself. They are the rabbit holes of the universe, the wardrobes of reality, the mysterious doorways that might open onto something unimaginable. As you breathe slowly, picture this continuity, how human beings, thousands of years ago, looked at the night sky and imagined gods, spirits, and hidden realms. Now, with telescopes and equations, we look again and imagine universes, dimensions, and portals. The language has changed, but the longing is the same. We are still asking, what lies beyond the veil? Perhaps that is why black holes are so compelling. They are not just scientific objects. They are symbols of everything we've ever dreamed about crossing over, about finding a hidden passage to another place. They hold our stories, our fears, and our hopes. They whisper of endings, yes, but also of beginnings. They suggest that the unknown is not empty, but full of possibilities, full of other worlds, full of mysteries waiting to be explored. As modern science began to uncover the secrets of the universe, that timeless yearning for gateways didn't vanish, it evolved. The myths of underworlds and world trees gave way to equations, telescopes, and theories. Yet, if you look closely, the themes are the same. We are still fascinated by the idea of crossing thresholds. We are still drawn to the notion of other realms. We simply express that fascination with new tools and new language. In the 20th century, Einstein's theory of general relativity cracked open the door to ideas that sounded like myth reborn. His equations allowed for the possibility of bridges through space-time, what we now call wormholes. Though they were purely theoretical, they carried that same emotional weight as the old stories. A wormhole is nothing less than a cosmic passageway, a corridor between here and elsewhere. Suddenly, science was telling us that the universe itself might contain hidden doors. The fascination grew stronger as popular culture embraced it. Movies like Interstellar or Contact didn't just entertain us, they echoed something deep inside us. When we watch a spacecraft approach a black hole on screen, when we see a character step through a wormhole, we feel more than curiosity. We feel that ancient stirring, the possibility of crossing over. These stories feel right because they resonate with the myths humanity has carried for millennia. But what makes black holes unique is that they are not imaginary constructs. They are real. Astronomers have photographed them, measured their gravitational waves, watched them bend light itself. Unlike a wardrobe or a rabbit hole, black holes exist. That reality transforms the gateway from metaphor into possibility. When scientists suggest that a black hole might connect to another universe, we are not just reading fantasy, we are glimpsing a serious, if speculative, idea about the cosmos. This is why black holes hold such power in our collective imagination. They stand at the border where myth and science meet. They are as much symbols as they are astrophysical objects. When we lie in bed and drift into sleep, letting our minds wander, black holes are perfect companions for our dreams. They remind us that the line between reality and imagination is often thinner than we think. As you relax, picture yourself standing at the edge of one. Not falling in, not afraid, just standing there. The air around you is calm, the stars in the sky seem to shimmer a little more brightly, and ahead of you is a shadow, a circle of darkness that isn't just absence, but potential. It feels like a door waiting to be opened, a threshold humming with quiet energy. You don't know what lies on the other side, and perhaps you never will. But the thought itself is comforting. It suggests that our universe is not limited to what we see, that there may be more waiting beyond our reach, that endings may hide beginnings, that mystery itself is part of the fabric of existence. Think of the way we dream at night. Our minds spin new worlds while we sleep, worlds that feel real for a time, full of colors, emotions, and places we've never been. Waking up is like crossing back through a portal. Black holes, in their own way, mirror that. They are the universe's dreamscapes, places where reality bends into something unfamiliar, where rules change, and where another kind of truth might exist. And so, whether in myth, fiction, or science, the image of a gateway keeps returning. It is carved into our stories, painted into our art, whispered into our prayers, and written into our equations. Black holes are simply the latest and, perhaps the most awe-inspiring manifestation of that universal idea. There is something profoundly human about standing before a mystery we cannot solve and imagining that it is a doorway. Black holes, in this way, are mirrors of our inner lives. They don't just reflect the physics of collapsing stars. They reflect our longing for meaning, for connection, for something larger than ourselves. Think of how many times in life we encounter thresholds. The first day of school, the moment of falling in love, the passage into parenthood, the silence of grief when someone we love is gone. Each of these moments feels like a crossing, a shift from one state of being into another. We know what it means to face the unknown. That's why black holes resonate with us so deeply. They are cosmic versions of our own personal thresholds, scaled up to unimaginable proportions. Some philosophers and spiritual thinkers have even suggested that black holes symbolize death and rebirth. To enter a black hole could be like leaving one world and entering another, just as death is sometimes imagined as a passage into a new existence. In this sense, black holes are not just scientific curiosities, they are archetypes, carrying the weight of human imagination across cultures and centuries. As you rest here, listening, notice how your own breath rises and falls. Inhale, exhale, a cycle, a rhythm, a small gateway in itself, each breath carrying you from one moment into the next. The universe breathes, too, in the rise and collapse of stars, in the expansion of galaxies, in the silent mystery of black holes. To think of them as gateways is not just science fiction, it is a recognition of the patterns we see everywhere, from the smallest heartbeat to the largest cosmic dance. Now imagine this. What if black holes really are passages? What if they do lead somewhere, a universe with different stars, different laws of physics, perhaps even different versions of ourselves? The thought doesn't need to be proven to bring comfort. It is enough to know that the possibility exists, that somewhere, hidden beyond horizons we cannot cross, there may be more than this. And maybe that is the real gift of black holes. Not the equations or the telescopes, though those are wonders in themselves, but the way they invite us to dream. They give us permission to believe in doorways again, to keep alive the ancient stories in a modern form. They remind us that we are explorers, not just of the physical world, but of imagination itself. As you let your body sink deeper into rest, think of yourself not as falling into darkness, but as stepping across a threshold into peace. Beyond the worries of today, beyond the noise of thought, into the quiet mystery of sleep. Just as black holes may be gateways to other universes, your dreams may be gateways to other selves, hidden landscapes within your own mind, waiting to be explored. And so, black holes stand as symbols of both science and soul. They are real, immense, and terrifying, yet also tender in the way they speak to our oldest dreams. They remind us that there is always more beyond what we can see. That the universe is not a closed book, but an open story still being written. That mystery is not a problem to be solved, but a companion to be cherished. Let that thought stay with you as you drift further into rest. Black holes may be gateways, yes, but perhaps the true gateway is the one we carry inside us. The gateway to wonder, to imagination, to a universe within that is just as vast and infinite as the one beyond the stars. For centuries, black holes existed only in the imagination of mathematicians. They were predictions scribbled into notebooks, strange consequences of Einstein's equations that no one believed could really exist. But now, in our age, they've become real. Astronomers have not only proven that black holes exist, they've photographed them, measured their gravity, and even listened to their collisions across the cosmos. The Event Horizon Telescope gave us the first direct image of a black hole in 2019. That glowing orange ring, blurry yet unmistakable, was humanity's first glimpse of the shadow of a singularity. It wasn't science fiction anymore. It wasn't a metaphor. It was there, at the heart of galaxy M87, 55 million light-years away. A circle of darkness surrounded by fire, an opening into mystery. Black holes don't just sit quietly either. They are dynamic, powerful engines that shape the galaxies around them. At their centers, supermassive black holes churn, pulling stars into orbits, launching jets of energy across thousands of light-years. Some scientists even believe galaxies themselves might not form without them. That makes black holes more than exotic objects, they are fundamental to the structure of the universe. But here's where it becomes truly fascinating. The physics of black holes pushes against the limits of what we understand. General relativity describes how they bend space and time, while quantum theory insists on the behavior of particles and energy. At the event horizon, these two great theories of physics collide. They cannot both be true in their current form. And so, black holes force us to search for something deeper, a new theory that could unify the universe. This is why some scientists take seriously the idea that black holes might be gateways. Wormholes, for instance, aren't just science fiction. They are solutions to Einstein's equations, mathematically possible structures that could connect distant points in space and time. Whether nature actually builds them is another question, but the fact that they re-permitted at all suggests something extraordinary. that the universe itself might allow shortcuts, tunnels, or bridges to elsewhere. And then there are ideas about white holes, the theoretical opposites of black holes. While black holes consume everything, white holes would expel matter and energy, like cosmic fountains. Some physicists have speculated that what falls into a black hole in one universe could emerge from a white hole in another. If true, black holes would not be ends at all, but transitions, not deaths, but passages. As you breathe slowly now, imagine those equations written across a chalkboard. Symbols and lines that look abstract, but which describe realities so immense, they defy comprehension. Behind each equation is a possibility of vision of a universe where black holes are not prisons, but gateways. The evidence is still thin. Of course, we've never traveled near a black hole. We can only observe them from a distance, through telescopes and gravitational waves. But what we do see keeps fueling speculation. When two black holes collide, for example, they send ripples across space-time itself, gravitational waves that scientists on Earth can now detect. Each wave is a whisper from the cosmos, a sign that black holes are not silent tombs, but dynamic, evolving entities. And whispers, as you know, can often carry secrets. When scientists peer deeper into black holes, they aren't just looking for answers about stars or galaxies. They're searching for the foundations of reality itself. Black holes are like natural laboratories, places where the laws of physics are stretched to their breaking point. And at that breaking point, entirely new possibilities might emerge. One of the most puzzling discoveries of the last few decades is the behavior of information near black holes. According to quantum mechanics, information about particles, energy, the very arrangement of matter cannot be destroyed. It's a fundamental rule of the universe. But when matter falls into a black hole, it seems to vanish forever, swallowed by the singularity. If that were true, the information would be lost, breaking one of the most sacred laws of physics. This paradox has haunted scientists for years, leading to fierce debates, new theories, and even whispers that black holes might not be what we think they are at all. Stephen Hawking once proposed that black holes could leak information slowly, in the form of faint radiation now called Hawking radiation. If this radiation truly carries away the imprints of everything that fell inside, then maybe black holes aren't graves for matter and information. Maybe they are cosmic recycling centers, transforming reality in ways we can't yet decode. And here's where the idea of gateways enters the picture again. If information isn't lost, if it's preserved somehow, then it must go somewhere. Could it be that black holes act like cosmic vaults, holding information until it can re-emerge in another universe? Some scientists call this the multiverse connection, suggesting that every black hole might be linked to a new universe born on the other side. The notion isn't pure fantasy. In fact, it stems from mathematical models of cosmology. Some equations suggest that the collapse of matter in a black hole could bounce, expanding outward into a new dimension. To us, it looks like the end, but from inside, it could look like a beginning. Imagine that our own universe could be the interior of someone else's black hole, born from collapse and now expanding endlessly. The idea is radical, yes, but so is the concept of black holes themselves, once upon a time, and yet, here we are, measuring their spin, their size, their gravity, listening to their collisions through gravitational waves. What was once science fiction has become observable fact. So who is to say that today's far-fetched speculation 1T someday be tomorrow's headline discovery? Another clue comes from the study of spacetime itself. Physicists using quantum theory and string theory have speculated that the fabric of the cosmos may not be smooth at all, but woven from tiny vibrating strings, or loops of energy. If true, then black holes could act like knots in this cosmic fabric, tearing and reconnecting spacetime in ways that allow shortcuts, or bridges, to appear. Wormholes, then, might not just be fantasy, they could be an inevitable feature of reality. Waiting in the shadows of black holes, close your eyes for a moment and imagine drifting near the event horizon of a black hole. Time slows, space bends. To a distant observer, you seem frozen, suspended on the edge of eternity. But to you, the journey continues. You pass through, past the horizon, into a realm no one has ever witnessed. Do you fall forever into darkness? Or do you emerge into light, into another world, another cosmos, another beginning? Astrophysicists wrestle with these questions, not just for curiosity's sake, but because the answers might explain why our universe exists at all. If black holes really do give birth to new universes, then perhaps our own cosmos is part of an infinite chain. Universes birthing universes, endlessly, across a multiverse so vast, it makes even our largest galaxies seem small. And here's a thought: if black holes connect to other universes, then maybe the mysteries we see, dark matter, dark energy, the strange acceleration of cosmic expansion aren't isolated puzzles. Maybe they're hints of interactions between our universe and others, subtle fingerprints of connections we can't yet see. Science doesn't claim certainty here. These are frontiers, places where imagination meets mathematics, where observation pushes us into the unknown. But black holes demand that we think bigger, wider, beyond the comfortable boundaries of our current theories. As you settle deeper into calm, let your mind wander through these possibilities. A universe born inside a black hole, a wormhole tunnel leading to a galaxy billions of light years away, a chain of cosmoses, stretching endlessly, one inside another like Russian nesting dolls. These aren't just dreams, they're serious ideas born from serious science. And each day, with every new observation, we get a little closer to knowing if they might be true. The more we think about black holes, the more they seem like riddles written into the universe, riddles with answers just beyond our reach. To many scientists, they are not the end of understanding, but the beginning. And perhaps the greatest question they pose is this: what lies on the other side? Some theories imagine a black hole as a doorway, but with conditions that are nearly impossible to survive. The tidal forces near the singularity would tear apart atoms themselves, stretching matter into threads thinner than anything we can picture. This process has a grim nickname: spaghettification. To human beings, it would mean instant destruction. But if the universe is clever, if nature has built-in loopholes, there might be routes where these forces are softened, where matter isn't destroyed but transformed. This is where the concept of white holes enters the discussion. A white hole is the mirror opposite of a black hole. Instead of pulling everything inward, it pushes everything outward. Matter, energy, even light, are expelled, never allowed to enter. In the equations of general relativity, white holes are possible solutions. Some scientists believe that the inside of a black hole could connect to the outside of a white hole, perhaps in another region of space or in another universe entirely. If so, then black holes aren't dead ends at all. They're tunnels, with exits we've never seen. The idea is mind-bending. Imagine falling into a black hole at the center of our galaxy, Sagittarius A*. You pass the event horizon. To an observer, you're gone forever. But from your perspective, you pass through and emerge exploded outward by a white hole into a newborn cosmos. That universe might have different physical laws, different stars, even different dimensions. In some models, every black hole in our universe could be a seed, planting new universes each time a star collapses. If that sounds far-fetched, consider how often theories once thought impossible have proven real. Not long ago, no one believed black holes themselves could exist. They were mathematical curiosities, dismissed by many. Now, we can take pictures of them, those glowing rings of fire seen by the Event Horizon Telescope. In 2015, we detected the ripples of two black holes colliding, stretching, and squeezing space itself. The universe confirmed what mathematics had whispered. So, when modern equations point toward gateways, wormholes, and multiverses, perhaps we should listen carefully. Perhaps the cosmos is hinting at truths stranger than we dare imagine. But black holes are not only objects of speculation, they are real, powerful forces shaping the galaxies. Without them, our Milky Way would not hold its spiral form. Black holes anchor galaxies, drive star formation, and regulate cosmic balance. If they also serve as passageways, then they are not only guardians of galaxies, they are midwives of universes. Close your eyes again and picture yourself floating at the edge of one. The stars around you swirl in silence. The black hole itself is invisible, cloaked by its gravity. Only the glowing accretion disk reveals its presence, hot gas spiraling faster and faster, lighting up the darkness. The pull is irresistible. You drift closer. The light bends around you, creating halos and mirages. Time itself slows, stretching seconds into hours. And then, you fall. Do you end in nothingness? Or do you awaken elsewhere, reborn into a cosmos teeming with its own stars, its own galaxies, its own mysteries? Could you even remember the universe you left behind? Or would your very being be rewritten by the laws of this new reality? These are not idle questions. They challenge our deepest assumptions about space, time, and existence. If black holes are gateways, then perhaps our universe is not a solitary island in the cosmic ocean. Perhaps it is one of many shores, linked by dark bridges that hide in plain sight. And if that is true, then maybe, just maybe, the next time we gaze into the night sky, we are not looking into emptiness. We are staring at doorways, at connections, at paths to worlds we cannot yet touch. The beauty of this mystery is that it invites us to dream. Even as you drift toward rest, lulled by the rhythm of cosmic wonder, the thought remains: black holes may not be the monsters of the universe, but the gateways. They may not be endings, but beginnings. They may not swallow reality, but unfold it into infinite possibilities. What if black holes aren't just cosmic mysteries, but active participants in the story of creation? What if every black hole, hidden in the shadows of galaxies, is a silent architect of universes shaping not only the cosmos we know, but countless others beyond our reach? This thought, as wild as it may sound, has captivated scientists, philosophers, and dreamers alike. Because if black holes truly are gateways, then everything we know about existence changes. Let's start by stepping back to look at the big picture. Our universe, vast as it is, has laws, gravity pulls, Light travels at a finite speed. Energy cannot be created or destroyed, at least not in the way we usually understand it. These rules have guided the cosmos for billions of years, forming stars, galaxies, and planets. But what if these laws are not universal? What if they are local, like rules of a particular game, applying only to our universe but not to others? This is the heart of a bold idea called cosmic natural selection, suggested by physicist Lee Smolin. He imagined that every black hole could give birth to a new universe, and that the properties of that universe, the strength of gravity, the speed of light, the balance of forces, could be slightly different each time. Over time, the universes that produce more black holes would create more offspring, spreading their laws like genetic traits in a cosmic family tree. In this view, universes evolve much like living things do, each generation carrying forward variations that shape the next. If that is true, then our own universe might not be an accident. It might be a descendant of countless generations of universes, each one fine-tuned through cosmic trial and error. We exist, perhaps, because our universe's laws happen to create stars that live long enough to foster life, and because those stars also collapse into black holes, seeding more universes. We are, in a sense, children of both creation and destruction, products of a grand cycle playing out on a scale beyond imagination. Now, imagine standing at the edge of such a process. A star, massive and brilliant, spends millions of years burning its nuclear fuel. It collapses, implodes, and dies. From the outside, we see the violence, the explosion, the shockwaves, the collapse into darkness. But from another perspective, perhaps on the other side of the singularity, a universe is being born. What looks like death to us may be birth to something else. Our cosmos could be one long chain of such rebirths, stretching endlessly in both directions. The thought is humbling. It means we might never be able to trace the true origin of existence, because every beginning is simply the result of another ending. Asking what started it all might be like asking what's the first number. There may be no first, only an infinite sequence. But even if we cannot reach the beginning, we can explore the possibilities. Some scientists believe that evidence of other universes could be imprinted subtly into our own. Tiny fluctuations in the cosmic microwave background, the faint afterglow of the Big Bang, might hold clues. Perhaps slight anomalies in that glow are the scars of collisions between our universe and others, like ripples spreading where two cosmic bubbles touched. If black holes are portals, maybe the fingerprints of those connections are written in the very fabric of space around us. And yet, there's a strange paradox here. To explore black holes deeply, to truly understand them, would require going beyond the event horizon, a place from which no signal can escape. Information, as far as we know, can't get out. That makes black holes both the greatest laboratories of physics and the most inaccessible. They hold answers, but they keep them locked away. So we are left with mathematics, imagination, and indirect observations, listening to the universe for hints, like detectives chasing whispers. Still, even whispers can guide us. Gravitational waves, for instance, the ripples in spacetime detected when black holes collide, have already given us glimpses into their hidden nature. Each wave carries information about the size, the spin, the dance of black holes before they merge. With future technology, perhaps these waves could even reveal patterns we don't yet expect. Patterns pointing to connections across universes. It might sound like science fiction, but a century ago, even the idea of detecting gravitational waves seemed impossible. As you drift deeper into this story, think of it this way. We are explorers, standing at the edge of a great ocean. Black holes are the dark waters before us, vast and mysterious. We don't know what lies beyond, but we sense that something is there, something greater, stranger, more magnificent than we can yet name. The cosmos is not silent. It speaks through the collapse of stars, the ripples of gravity, the glow of ancient light. And if black holes are indeed gateways, then the universe is telling us a story not of isolation, but of connection. A story in which every death is a doorway, every darkness a bridge, every ending a new beginning. Picture yourself floating in the vastness of space, staring into a black hole's abyss. From afar, it looks deceptively simple, just a dark circle, framed by light bent into impossible curves. But behind that surface lies an entire question mark about reality itself. To some physicists, this question mark may point directly toward other universes. Here's where things get stranger. You see, general relativity of the theory Einstein gave us tells us what happens outside a black hole. It describes how matter warps space, how light bends, how time itself slows near the horizon. But inside, that's where the math breaks. The singularity at the core is a place where equations produce infinities, where space and time as we know them simply dissolve. To Einstein, this was a puzzle, perhaps even a sign that something fundamental was missing. Quantum physics, the other great pillar of modern science, doesn't sit quietly either. It whispers that no information can ever truly vanish. Even if matter falls into a black hole, the information about that matter must somehow be preserved. But how? If it can't escape and yet it can't be destroyed, where does it go? One daring possibility. The information doesn't vanish, it travels. It's carried through the singularity, into the seed of another cosmos. In this way, every black hole in our universe might be the umbilical cord to a new reality. The matter that collapses here could emerge elsewhere, transformed into the raw material for stars, galaxies, maybe even life. Our universe, in turn, could have been born from such a process, an offspring of a black hole in a larger, older universe. This idea may sound fantastical, but think about how many times in history we've underestimated the cosmos. Once, we believed the Earth was the center. Once, we thought the Milky Way was the only galaxy. Each time, the truth turned out far larger, far stranger. Why should the same not be true here? And there's something oddly poetic about the notion. Imagine civilizations in other universes, unaware that their black holes are giving rise to worlds beyond their own skies. To them, those collapsed stars might be symbols of destruction, just as they are to us. But in reality, they're gateways, weaving together a vast web of creation across dimensions. Perhaps in another universe, right now, a black hole is birthing ours. Now, let's think practically. If black holes create universes, would we ever know? Could we detect the birth cry of a new cosmos? Some theorists suggest that the signature of such events might linger in the form of unusual radiation or patterns in the cosmic microwave background. Others argue that universes are forever separate, disconnected bubbles we can never cross, like islands surrounded by infinite ocean. But even if we can't cross, the possibility itself changes how we see the cosmos. Instead of a cold, empty expanse, it becomes a living forest of universes, each sprouting from the seeds of black holes, each carrying forward different variations of physical law. Some universes might be too unstable, collapsing instantly. Others might spread endlessly, rich with stars, planets, and perhaps even consciousness. Here's a comforting thought. Maybe black holes are not cosmic monsters at all. Maybe they're nurseries. What looks terrifying from one side could be nurturing from the other. That's the kind of paradox the universe seems to love, turning destruction into creation, endings into beginnings. As you relax deeper into this idea, notice how it softens the fear black holes usually inspire. Instead of being devourers of light, they become bridges of possibility. Instead of final sentences, they are commas in an endless story. And yet, the mystery remains. We don't know what happens at the singularity. We don't know if space and time continue, or if they fold into something unimaginable. We don't know if another universe blooms beyond the veil. But maybe not knowing is the point. Maybe black holes exist to remind us that reality is larger than our comprehension, that the unknown is not something to fear, but something to wonder at. After all, the night sky has always held secrets. For ancient people, stars were portals to gods and spirits. Today, black holes serve a similar role, portals, but to scientific and philosophical questions. Whether or not they truly lead to other universes, they invite us to think bigger, to stretch our imagination beyond the borders of the known. So, as you drift deeper into rest, let this possibility sink in. Somewhere out there, hidden in the darkness of space, a black hole could be the birthplace of another cosmos. And maybe, in some unknowable past, our own universe emerged from such a place. Which means that, in a very real way, we are children of the dark. If black holes are indeed gateways, then what does that mean for us tiny beings living on a small planet orbiting an ordinary star? At first glance, it seems irrelevant. After all, we're not stepping into black holes anytime soon. But in a deeper sense, it matters profoundly, because it changes our place in the grand story. Think of how humanity has always sought meaning in the cosmos. From ancient mythologies to modern science, we've asked the same questions. Where did we come from? Why are we here? Where are we going? If black holes give birth to universes, then the answer to where we came from may lie in a process of cosmic rebirth. We may be children not of chaos, but of continuity, a link in an endless chain of creation. This perspective softens the coldness of the void. Instead of a universe born from a singular, inexplicable explosion, we see a cycle. Stars die. Black holes form. New universes begin. Life and death, creation and destruction, not as opposites, but as partners. The rhythm of the cosmos becomes almost organic, like breathing in and out on a scale of eternity. There's also a spiritual echo in this idea. Religions across the world have spoken of cycles, rebirth, reincarnation, the eternal return. Could it be that science, in its own language, is hinting at something similar? Not that universes reincarnate souls, but that reality itself is cyclical, always renewing, always creating, always beginning again. And yet, there's an even deeper mystery. What if universes are not just offspring, but connected? Imagine threads of energy, stretching invisibly between black holes and their daughter universes. Imagine that, in some way, we are entangled not only with particles in our own cosmos, but with realities beyond. Could echoes of other universes influence ours? Could our dreams, our intuitions, even our unexplained mysteries be subtle ripples from those unseen realms? We don't know. But the beauty of this mystery is that it invites us to dream. Science thrives on questions, and black holes provide some of the most profound questions of all. They sit at the intersection of physics and philosophy, of what we can measure and what we can only imagine. And maybe that's their gift, not just their potential as gateways, but their ability to expand our perspective, to remind us that reality is far larger, far stranger, than the walls of our everyday lives. When you look at the night sky, when you think of black holes, you're not just staring into darkness, you're staring into possibility. Perhaps one day, distant descendants of humanity or whatever we evolve into will have the tools to explore these gateways. Maybe they'll discover that black holes do, in fact, lead to other universes. Maybe they'll even find a way to step through. But even if that day never comes, the mystery itself is enough. It pushes us to wonder, to imagine, to never stop seeking. So, as you lie here, letting your thoughts drift like stars across the sky, hold on to this. The universe is not just vast. It may be infinite in ways we can't yet grasp. And black holes, those enigmatic shadows, may be the keys to that infinity. They may not just end worlds, they may begin them. They may not just take, they may give. They may not just close, they may open. And isn't that a comforting thought to fall asleep to? That beyond the darkness, there could be light. That behind the unknown, there could be wonder. That in every black hole, there might be the heartbeat of another universe, waiting to be born. So rest now. Let the mysteries of the cosmos wrap around you like a blanket. Drift into dreams, where imagination has no limits, where time and space bend like light near a horizon. And who knows, perhaps in dreams, we touch those other universes. Perhaps in sleep, we are already travelers across the multiverse. When we imagine black holes as gateways, our minds immediately leap to the idea of travel moving through one reality and emerging in another. Science fiction has long painted this picture, a starship diving into a singularity, only to appear in a parallel universe. The truth, as always, is more complicated. Yet the questions remain irresistible. First, we must consider the mechanics. A black hole center, the singularity, is a place where our current understanding of physics breaks down. General relativity predicts infinite density, while quantum mechanics resists such infinities. This conflict suggests that the singularity is not the end of the story, but rather a clue that a deeper theory is needed. Perhaps, at that deepest level, the singularity is not a point at all, but a bridge. The concept of a wormhole emerges here, a hypothetical tunnel connecting distant regions of spacetime, more perhaps entirely separate universes. Some solutions to Einstein's equations even allow for wormholes, though most would collapse too quickly for anything to pass through. But what if black holes are nature's way of stabilizing these tunnels? What if, behind every event horizon, there is a hidden passage, guarded by gravity but leading somewhere new? It's important to remember that somewhere new might not mean a place we could recognize. Another universe might not obey the same rules as ours. The constants of nature, the speed of light, the strength of gravity, the behavior of particles might be different. A traveler stepping through might not survive, or even make sense as matter. And yet, the very possibility is breathtaking. That reality is not singular, but plural, and that black holes are the doorways between its rooms. Now, think about what this would mean on a cosmic scale. Every galaxy harbors a supermassive black hole at its core, millions or even billions of times the mass of our sun. If each of those is a gateway, then our universe is dotted with exits, like a vast transportation network. Entire galaxies may be feeding into other universes, their stars and dust collapsing into black holes, only to ignite the birth of new realms elsewhere. In this sense, black holes are not just endpoints, but engines of creation, building an eternal web of interconnected realities. The image is staggering. Universes nested within universes, an infinite branching tree of existence. Perhaps our universe is just one leaf on this cosmic tree, nourished by roots hidden within black holes, while above us, branches stretch into realms we cannot see. It makes our night sky, already humbling, feel even more mysterious. The stars we gaze at are not just companions in space, they may be part of a far grander system of realities. But we should pause here, because while the vision is beautiful, it is also deeply humbling. We are small, we are fragile. The nearest black hole we know of is thousands of light years away, unreachable with any technology we can imagine today. And even if we could approach it, the journey across an event horizon is still beyond our comprehension. The gateway, if it exists, remains locked for now. And yet, isn't that the essence of exploration? To confront what seems impossible, to dream beyond limits. Humanity has always stared at horizons, whether they were oceans, planets, or the stars themselves. Black holes may simply be the next horizon, the one that beckons us across the boundary of universes. So, as you listen, allow yourself to drift into that thought. Picture a starship, centuries from now, approaching the dark mouth of a black hole. Imagine the crew watching the stars stretch into streaks of light as they near the event horizon. Imagine their final breath of familiar starlight before crossing into the unknown. Will they emerge in a new universe, or will they dissolve into mystery? Either way, the step itself would be the greatest act of courage imaginable. To explore whether black holes might truly connect to other universes, we must return to the foundations of physics. The first clues lie in the theory of general relativity itself. When Albert Einstein formulated his equations in 1915, he unlocked a way to describe gravity, not as a force, but as the bending of spacetime. Those equations, powerful and elegant, describe black holes with eerie precision. They also allow for solutions that hint at passages beyond our own cosmos, mathematical bridges that seem to whisper of hidden worlds. One of the earliest ideas was the Einstein-Rosen bridge, discovered in the 1930s. In theory, it connected to black holes, creating a tunnel between them. At first, physicists thought this might provide a natural pathway through space, but further analysis showed that such bridges collapse almost instantly. Without some exotic stabilizing force, nothing could make it through alive. And yet, the fact that the mathematics even hinted at the possibility was enough to plant a seed. Later, as quantum mechanics developed, physicists began to wonder, could the fluctuations of the quantum world stabilize these tunnels? Could black holes act as portals, with their destructive gravity balanced by strange quantum effects? In some speculative theories, the interior of a black hole is not just a singularity, but a transitioner throat that leads into another expanding region of spacetime. From that perspective, what looks like a black hole from one side might appear as a new universe from the other. This idea carries with it a poetic symmetry. Our own universe, after all, seems to have sprung from a singularity, the Big Bang. If singularities can give birth to universes, then perhaps black holes are repeating that process on smaller scales, each one budding off a universe of its own. Picture it, a star collapses under its own weight, forming a black hole in our cosmos, and in that collapse a new cosmos explodes outward on the other side. From their perspective, our black hole was their Big Bang. If true, this would mean that every black hole is the womb of a universe. Some of these universes might share the same physical laws as ours. Others might be alien beyond imagination. In some, stars may never form. In others, gravity might be stronger or weaker, time might flow differently, or dimensions might twist in unfamiliar ways. It's a multiverse not of parallel copies, but of endless variety. Of course, we have no direct evidence. The event horizon hides everything. No signal, no information, no probe can return once it crosses that boundary. But indirect evidence may one day emerge. Some physicists believe that patterns in the cosmic microwave background, the faint glow of our own Big Bang, could reveal imprints of other universes. Others think that Hawking radiation, the slow evaporation of black holes, might carry subtle clues about what happens inside. Still, the speculation remains intoxicating. Think of the implications. If black holes are gateways, then reality itself is not closed. Our universe would be only one chapter in a much larger book, a book without end. And we, tiny creatures on a small blue planet, have discovered not just the page we occupy, but the margins where the story continues. Now let's imagine what it would mean for civilization. Suppose, in some distant future, humanity develops the technology to probe black holes safely. Suppose we learn how to navigate the gravitational extremes, how to survive the crossing. Could we then choose to travel into another universe? Could refugees from a dying Earth escape not just into space, but into a whole new cosmos, untouched and waiting? The thought alone changes how we see our destiny. No longer confined to a single universe, our story would stretch across multiverses. We would not just be explorers of space, but of reality itself. Perhaps entire civilizations have already done this. Alien species, who leaped into black holes and seeded new universes with their presence. Perhaps we are the descendants of such a journey, living in a universe created long ago, when another civilization's black hole bloomed. Whether true or not, the idea makes the night sky feel alive in a different way. Every black patch where stars vanish might not be an end, but a beginning. Every black hole could be a cosmic seed, carrying within it the promise of another world. And as you listen, as your thoughts drift into quiet, imagine those seeds unfolding endlessly. Reality blooming without limit, every black hole a silent passage into the infinite. If black holes do connect to other universes, then the question naturally arises, what would it be like to stand at the threshold? Imagine, for a moment, a civilization advanced enough to hover near the edge of a black hole. They would not enter blindly. They would measure the warping of spacetime, map the radiation, and predict the cascade of forces that any traveler would face. Their scientists might debate endlessly whether the leap was survivable or whether the very act of stepping across would transform them beyond recognition. For the traveler, the experience would defy imagination. Time itself stretches near the event horizon. To those outside, you would appear frozen, suspended forever. But to you, the fall might take only seconds. What lies beyond could be annihilation or a passage into somewhere utterly new. Some theories suggest that information, the very fabric of identity, could survive the transition. Others suggest it would be scrambled beyond recovery, reassembled into something unrecognizable on the far side. Philosophers have long speculated about such journeys. Would you still be you if you emerged in another universe, reconstituted from shredded information? Or would it be a new being entirely, carrying only an echo of the one who leaped? In this sense, the idea of black holes as gateways touches not just physics, but the essence of self, continuity, and existence. Even more haunting is the possibility that we are already inside such a system. If our universe was born from the collapse of a black hole in some parent cosmos, then the boundary between inside and outside becomes meaningless. We are the result of a transition. We are the other side. And perhaps, within our own universe, black holes are continuing the cycle, birthing still more universes beyond our perception. This concept reframes black holes from destroyers into creators. Instead of cosmic monsters devouring stars, they become cosmic gardeners, planting new universes like seeds scattered across the infinite. Each collapse is a renewal. Each death a birth. The symmetry is profound. It suggests that what looks like an ending from one perspective is the beginning of an entirely new reality from another. Let's allow that image to settle. Picture the galaxy, a whirl of stars in the darkness. At its center, a supermassive black hole waits, a gravitational anchor around which everything spins. From our view, it is dangerous, hungry, unfathomably dense. But from another vantage perhaps, from the other side, it could be the heartbeat of a newborn cosmos, expanding outward in its own time and space. The sheer scale of this thought can be overwhelming. To help it land, let's bring it closer to home. Imagine standing under the night sky, gazing upward at the Milky Way. The stars shimmer, the air is cool, and silence wraps around you. Somewhere up there, hidden in the darkness, are black holes. To your eyes, they are invisible, but their gravity bends the dance of stars. You realize that those unseen objects may be far more than voids. They may be doors, each one leading to a story you cannot yet read. The mystery deepens when we think about the role of consciousness itself. If universes can sprout from black holes, does consciousness or awareness play a part in shaping them? Quantum mechanics, after all, teaches us that observation influences outcomes. Could it be that sentient beings, in ways not yet understood, help define what unfolds when a universe is born? It's a radical thought, but not out of place in a discussion where the very boundaries of space and time are dissolving. Some scientists argue that universes capable of producing black holes are more likely to reproduce. This idea, called cosmological natural selection, suggests that universes evolve like living organisms. Those with physical laws that allow stars to form, collapse, and create black holes will give rise to offspring universes. Over cosmic timescales, such universes become more common. If true, we might be living in a cosmos fine-tuned, not for life, but for black hole production. Life is simply a byproduct, yet here we are, reflecting on it. This brings a subtle comfort. Even if black holes remain forever out of reach, their presence may explain why we exist at all. Without them, the universe might not sustain the cycles of creation that made stars, planets, and eventually us. Instead of being hostile, black holes become essential. They are not just cosmic mysteries, but the silent architects of everything we know. As your thoughts drift with this possibility, notice how the story shifts from fear to wonder. Black holes, once symbols of annihilation, become bridges. They invite us to expand our imagination, to see beyond endings into continuations, to accept that reality is larger and stranger than we can grasp. And in that strangeness lies a beauty, the possibility that we are part of something endless, something alive, something always beginning anew. And so, as you relax, let the image of black holes as gateways carry you, each one a secret door, each one a promise of another world, each one a whisper that the story never ends. Let that thought wrap around you like a blanket, soft and reassuring. The universe is vast, but it is also generative, fertile, and endlessly creative. What feels like darkness may be the seed of light. What feels like loss may be the start of a greater beginning. When you close your eyes at night and drift into dreams, your mind often creates landscapes that are both familiar and unfamiliar, comforting yet terrifying. For thousands of years, humanity has done the same thing with the night sky. We've looked into the darkness above us and seen not just stars and galaxies, but also mysteries that reflect our own inner fears and hopes. And among the greatest of those mysteries are black holes. Black holes are unlike anything else in the cosmos. They are regions where light itself cannot escape, where time and space curve so sharply that the normal rules of reality no longer apply. To scientists, they are objects of intense study, but to the human imagination, they are something deeper, symbols of endings, of transformations, of journeys into the unknown. Long before Einstein, long before telescopes or modern physics, people already sensed the existence of cosmic abysses. Many ancient cultures told stories about devouring voids, about gods or monsters that swallowed the sun, the the moon, or even entire worlds. In Norse mythology, the wolf Fenrir is destined to consume the sun during Ragnar. In Hindu traditions, the demon Rahu swallows the sun and moon, causing eclipses. To the Maya, the dark rift of the Milky Way was seen as the mouth of a cosmic serpentine passage to another realm. These myths were not scientific descriptions, of course, but they revealed something profound. Humanity has always felt that the universe contains gateways, thresholds between what we know and what lies beyond. Today, when we speak of black holes as possible portals to other universes, we are in many ways continuing that same tradition, giving new language to ancient intuitions. The idea of a gateway is powerful because it speaks to our deepest desires. Every culture has its stories of hidden doors, enchanted passages, secret tunnels that lead from one reality into another. Black holes, in the modern imagination, are like the ultimate cosmic doorway. They represent the possibility that death is not an ending, but a crossing, that the universe itself might be layered with hidden dimensions, waiting for us to discover them. But black holes also inspire fear. They remind us of oblivion, of the unknown, of the possibility that everything we are could vanish into silence. When astronomers first began to take black holes seriously, even they used words like cosmic monsters and gravitational traps. The thought of something so powerful that not even light can escape feels unnatural, almost supernatural. And yet, here they are, real, measurable, photographed, singing their gravitational songs across the universe. This tension between fear and wonder, destruction and transformation is at the heart of why black holes resonate so strongly with us. They are not just astrophysical objects, they are mirrors. When we talk about black holes, we are also talking about ourselves, our fear of death, our longing for rebirth, our curiosity about what lies beyond the boundaries of our perception. Consider the way popular culture has embraced them. In movies like Interstellar, black holes are not merely threats but also possibilities. The film imagined a journey through a black hole as a passage into higher dimensions, where love, memory, and human connection transcend even space-time. In that story, the black hole becomes a bridge not just to another place, but to a deeper truth about existence. In literature, too, black holes often symbolize the limits of knowledge. They remind us that no matter how much we learn, there will always be mysteries beyond reach. Writers and poets use them as metaphors for depression, for longing, for obsession, for the human experience of staring into something vast and incomprehensible. To fall into a black hole in everyday language is to lose oneself, to be consumed by something greater than you can control. And yet, we return to them, again and again, with fascination, because perhaps part of us wants to be consumed. Not literally, but spiritually, to let go of the known world and step into something vast, something eternal. When you imagine floating near a black hole, it's easy to picture terror, the pull of gravity, the stretching of your body, the sheer inevitability of falling. But if you imagine it differently, if you imagine closing your eyes and surrendering, it could also feel like a return, a release from time, emerging with something infinite. This is why black holes capture not just the minds of physicists, but the hearts of dreamers, artists, mystics, and everyday people who look up at the night sky. They are science and symbol, fact and metaphor, reality and myth, all at once. They connect us to our ancestors, who told stories about devouring gods and cosmic gateways, and they connect us to our descendants, who may one day travel closer to them, perhaps even discover whether they truly lead somewhere else. So as you lie here tonight, listening to these words, imagine yourself not as a scientist staring through a telescope, but as a traveler standing before a great cosmic door. The door is blacker than night, rimmed with fire, humming with power. You don't know what lies beyond it. It could be oblivion, or it could be a new universe, waiting with open arms. And in that uncertainty, in that balance between fear and wonder, lies the true human connection to black holes. They remind us that the universe is not simply a machine, not just particles and equations, but also a mystery we feel in our bones. They whisper to us that there may be more than what we can see, more than what we can measure. They invite us to step closer, even as they terrify us. Think about the way human beings have always related to the idea of darkness. Since the earliest days, when our ancestors huddled around campfires, the night sky represented both beauty and danger. The stars were beacons, but the blackness between them carried mystery. Into that darkness, we projected gods, monsters, and spirits. We imagined origins and endings, heavens and underworlds. Black holes are like the ultimate extension of that relationship. They are not just patches of darkness in the sky, but literal tears in spacetime, places where reality itself bends inward. For some, this feels like the ultimate confirmation that the universe is more mysterious than we can ever know. For others, it sparks a kind of spiritual awe, a reminder that there may be realities layered beyond our own. When we consider black holes as possible gateways, we are doing more than speculating about physics. We are expressing an ancient human desire, the longing to cross thresholds. Every culture has stories of journeys into the unknown. Whether it's Dante's descent into the Inferno, the shaman's voyage into the spirit world, or the hero's passage through trials into transformation. In each of these tales, the crossing is frightening but necessary. On the other side lies wisdom, renewal, or even paradise. Black holes embody that same mythic structure. They are thresholds written in the language of astrophysics. To approach one is to confront annihilation and, yet perhaps, also to discover something greater. The very idea feels like a cosmic echo of our own psychological journeys. We face moments of loss, grief, or despair that feel like plunging into darkness. But often, those moments become gateways to growth, to change, to a deeper understanding of ourselves. In this way, black holes are metaphors not only for death, but also for rebirth. The collapse of a star is not just an ending, it is also the creation of something new, a singularity that might open into another universe. Likewise, in our own lives, endings often hide beginnings. Pain carries lessons, silence hides potential, darkness conceals light. Some philosophers have even suggested that black holes symbolize the limits of human knowledge. To cross an event horizon is to enter a place where no information can escape, where our tools of science no longer function. What could be a better metaphor for the human condition? We can measure, calculate, and explore so much, and yet there will always remain regions beyond our reach. Black holes remind us that mystery is not a failure of understanding, but a natural feature of existence. Religious thinkers, too, have found meaning in them. For some, black holes are like physical representations of divine mystery, the cloud of unknowing that mystics spoke of, the silence at the heart of being. They suggest that God, or ultimate reality, is not something obvious or fully accessible, but something that swallows all our concepts, all our light, leaving us with humility and wonder. Others imagine black holes as metaphors for the soul's journey. Just as matter is drawn toward the singularity, we too are drawn toward some ultimate destiny, whether it be heaven, reincarnation, or simply becoming one with the universe. In that sense, a black hole is not terrifying but inviting, a passage into unity. And then there are the dreamers, the poets, the artists, the storytellers who see in black holes an endless canvas for imagination. They paint them as tunnels to higher realms, as mirrors of human emotion, as symbols of longing. In their hands, black holes are not just astrophysical objects but living metaphors for the mysteries we carry inside ourselves. Imagine standing beneath a night sky with no city lights, just the pure sweep of the Milky Way above. Somewhere, hidden in that glittering band, are black holes. Invisible, silent, but present. You cannot see them, yet you know they are there. Isn't that a perfect image for so many things in life? Love, loss, hope, fear, all invisible forces, shaping us just as surely as gravity shapes the stars. This is why black holes feel so personal, even when they are millions of light years away. They are out there, in the depths of space, but they speak to something intimate in us. They are like cosmic mirrors, reflecting our most private questions. What happens when we die? Is there something beyond? Do we return, transformed, or do we vanish into silence? And as you breathe softly now, letting your body sink into the quiet, you can feel that connection. The black hole is not just out there, it is also inside, in the places where words fail, where certainty dissolves, where you simply feel the vastness of existence. When scientists talk about black holes as potential gateways, they are not speaking entirely from fantasy. There are real equations, rooted in Einstein's general theory of relativity, that hint at the possibility. These equations describe not only the warping of space and time, but also the strange geometry that could allow shortcuts, what we call a wormhole is like a tunnel through the fabric of the cosmos, connecting to distant points. In theory, one end could be here in our universe, and the other could open somewhere else, perhaps in another region of space, perhaps in another time, or perhaps in another universe altogether. Black holes, with their immense gravitational power, seem like natural candidates for such connections. Physicists like Kip Thorne and John Wheeler spent decades exploring these ideas, developing mathematical models that describe how wormholes might form. They imagined Einstein-Rosen bridges, tunnels hidden inside black holes that could, under the right conditions, allow passage. It is important to note, these ideas are speculative. They remain unproven, and many scientists doubt that stable wormholes could ever exist. But the equations allow the possibility, and in science, possibility is the seed of wonder. The challenge is stability. A black hole is not a gentle doorway, it is a violent, crushing region of space. Any traveler, whether a spacecraft or a particle of light, would face unimaginable forces near the event horizon. Without some exotic form of matter to hold the wormhole open, the tunnel would collapse instantly. Exotic matter is not something we know how to create in usable amounts, though in theory, quantum mechanics allows for tiny fluctuations of it. Still, the idea persists, because it speaks to something profound. If wormholes could exist, then black holes are not merely dead ends, but potential beginnings. They might link our universe to a vast network of others, a cosmic web stretching into infinity. This connects directly to the concept of the multiverse. In modern cosmology, the multiverse is not just science fiction. Certain interpretations of quantum mechanics, as well as theories of cosmic inflation, suggest that our universe may be one bubble in an endless sea of universes. Each bubble may have its own laws of physics, its own stars, its own histories. If black holes connect to these other bubbles, then they are more than astronomical objects. They are bridges between entire realms of reality. Stephen Hawking himself wrestled with this question. In his later years, he proposed that information falling into a black hole might not be lost forever, but could leak out or even transfer elsewhere. This was part of what became known as the information paradox, a puzzle at the heart of black hole physics. If information is truly indestructible, as quantum mechanics insists, then black holes must somehow preserve it. But where one possibility is that black holes store this information on their event horizons, etched like holograms across their surfaces. Another is that they pass it along, across a wormhole, into another universe. If so, then every black hole is like a cosmic library, not destroying knowledge but archiving it beyond our reach. Imagine what that means. Entire histories of stars, planets, civilizations encoded in the fabric of a singularity, carried across to somewhere else. Perhaps in another universe, a distant observer could one day read the story of ours, whispered through the shadow of a black hole. Of course, these are speculations. No one has traveled into a black hole, and no one ever will, at least not with our current understanding of physics. But science thrives on imagination guided by mathematics. Equations allow us to dream responsibly. They create maps of possibilities, even if we cannot yet build the vehicles to explore them. And isn't that what makes the idea of black holes as gateways so powerful? They invite us to consider not only what is, but what might be. They blur the boundary between physics and philosophy, between measurable reality and human longing. When we think of them, we do not simply calculate, we dream. For now, black holes remain distant and silent. Yet their pull on our minds is as strong as their gravity. They remind us that the universe is not finished, that its story is still unfolding, and that our understanding is only one chapter in a much larger book. So as you listen now, drifting gently into calm, picture those hidden tunnels. Picture a black hole, not as an end, but as a doorway's event horizon glowing faintly. Its singularity, a passage beyond sight. Whether those doorways truly lead elsewhere or not, they exist within us, as symbols of possibility, as invitations to keep wondering. If you step back and think about it, black holes embody one of the deepest paradoxes in science. On the one hand, they are entirely real. Astronomers have observed them indirectly for decades through the motion of stars, through X-ray emissions, through gravitational waves rippling across the cosmos. In 2019, humanity even captured the first image of a black hole's shadow, a dark ring of silence against glowing plasma. These are not fantasy. They exist, immense and undeniable. And yet, the closer we look, the stranger they become. They seem to contradict the very laws of nature that gave rise to them. They erase information, and yet information must survive. They mark an end, and yet they may hint at a beginning. They destroy, and yet they may connect. Black holes are both real and impossible, both known and unknowable. Perhaps that is why they have always inspired not just scientists, but poets, artists, and dreamers. A black hole is not only a feature of the sky, it is a mirror for the human spirit. We see in it the reflection of our greatest questions. Where did we come from? Where are we going? What lies beyond the limits of knowledge? When you imagine a black hole as a gateway, you are engaging in one of humanity's oldest habits, storytelling. Long before equations, our ancestors gazed at the night sky and filled it with meaning. They saw constellations, gods, and myths written across the stars. Today, our myths were the clothing of mathematics, but they are still myth stories that help us make sense of the unknown. Think of it this way. Every time we describe a black hole as a doorway, or a tunnel, or a bridge, we are telling ourselves a story. We are framing the incomprehensible in familiar shapes. We cannot truly picture what lies inside a singularity, so we imagine a path. We cannot visualize another universe, so we dream of a gateway. These metaphors may not be literally true, but they are emotionally true. They give us courage to face the mystery. There is also a comfort in the idea. Death is often compared to a black hole, an end, a silence. But what if, like the cosmic black holes, death is not only an end but also a passage? What if each collapse conceals a new horizon? To think of black holes as gateways is, in some sense, to hope that endings are not final, that something always waits on the other side. And this is the paradox of sleep itself. You lie down, you close your eyes, and you surrender. Sleep is a small black hole, a daily fall into the unknown. You do not know where your mind goes, but when you awaken, you find yourself renewed, restored, carried through to another side. Perhaps this is why listening to stories of black holes before sleep feels so natural. They echo the rhythm of life falling, releasing, awakening again. From a cosmic perspective, the idea that black holes connect universes is both staggering and strangely intimate. Imagine billions of them scattered across the cosmos, each one a silent doorway, each one a possibility. Most are quiet, hidden in distant galaxies, but each carries within it the potential of an entire reality. Perhaps, somewhere, a black hole is not only consuming matter but birthing stars in another realm. Perhaps, as we stare at them with our telescopes, someone else in another universe is staring back, wondering the same things about us. Of course, we may never know. Black holes guard their secrets carefully. The mathematics may hint, the theories may inspire, but the truth lies beyond our reach. And that is okay. Not all mysteries are meant to be solved. Some are meant to be carried with us, like a song without an ending, like a horizon that always stays just ahead. What matters is not the certainty, but the wonder. The fact that we can imagine black holes as gateways shows how far curiosity can carry us. It shows that the human mind, fragile and finite though it may be, can stretch across light years, across universes, across the boundaries of time itself. So as you drift now, allow yourself to rest in that wonder. Picture a black hole, far away, its dark heart hidden, its edges glowing softly. Picture it not as a threat but as an invitation. Behind that curtain may lie another sky, another story, another beginning. You do not need to solve it, you only need to feel it, to let the mystery wash over you like a tide. Breathe slowly. Let the darkness of space fold around you, not as emptiness, but as a blanket. The universe is vast, and you are part of it. Its mysteries are your mysteries. Its doorways are your dreams. And in the silence of black holes, in their quiet promise of elsewhere, you may find the peace of sleep, the peace of possibility. When we think of black holes today, we picture something distant, untouchable, forever beyond our grasp. They dwell at the edges of galaxies, cloaked in silence, swallowing light itself. To us, they are symbols of the ultimate mystery, reminders that the universe is deeper and stranger than we can measure. And yet, if history teaches us anything, it is that boundaries in science rarely stay fixed. The horizons that once seemed unreachable slowly draw closer. There was a time when the moon was just a glowing disk in the night sky, a place of myth and longing. People told stories of gods, rabbits, and lovers who lived upon its surface. To touch, it was unthinkable. And yet, within a single lifetime, humans built machines, crossed the void, and left footprints in lunar dust. What once belonged only to dreamers became a reality of rocket fuel, mathematics, and courage. So we must ask ourselves, could the same story unfold with black holes? Could these distant abysses, so terrifying and so enchanting, one day become objects, not only of theory, but of exploration? The question may sound impossible, and perhaps it is, but impossibility has never stopped human imagination before. Right now, our relationship with black holes is built on sight and inference. We watch how stars circle them. We listen for the waves they send through space-time when two of them collide. We capture the faint glow of gas and dust as it swirls toward the event horizon. And yet, even with these tools, we are like children, pressing our ears against a locked door, catching only muffled hints of what lies beyond. The future promises more. New generations of telescopes are being designed to see deeper, sharper, and clearer. Space-based observatories free from the blur of Earth's atmosphere will stitch together entire networks of detectors spread across the solar system. With them, we may not only see black holes, but map them in exquisite detail: their spins, their magnetic fields, their dances with companion stars. The first image of a black hole's shadow, captured in 2019, was only the beginning. Imagine, one day, watching a live stream of the glowing plasma as it whirls just outside the event horizon. A cosmic ballet unfolding in real time. But sight is only the beginning. What if, in the future, we learn to touch their influence directly? Already, scientists are whispering about gravitational wave astronomy as a new sense, a way of listening to the universe that is as revolutionary as Galileo's telescope. Through these ripples in spacetime, we can hear black holes colliding from billions of light years away. As detectors become more sensitive, we may hear smaller, subtler events: black holes swallowing stars, or even the faint hum of primordial black holes left over from the birth of the cosmos. And then there is the most daring dream, that one day we might approach them ourselves. Picture vast spacecraft, not built for speed but for endurance, gliding silently through interstellar space. After centuries of travel, they arrive at the edge of a black hole system, not to plunge inward, but to orbit just close enough to witness the unseen. Such missions may sound like fantasy, but so too did the idea of walking on the moon. Technology evolves, and with it, so does courage. Why would we go? Not for conquest, but for knowledge. A black hole is the purest test of reality's limits. To study one up close would be to press our instruments against the fabric of spacetime itself. It would be like touching the blueprint of the universe, tracing the ink strokes where gravity, energy, and time are drawn together. For scientists of the far future, it may be irresistible. And perhaps, one day, we may not only observe but interact. Some theories suggest that the intense gravity of a rotating black hole could be harnessed for energy, a cosmic dynamo spinning forever in the darkness. Others whisper of wormholes, of tunnels hidden within the mathematics, waiting to be stabilized and opened. If even a fragment of these dreams proves true, then black holes would cease to be monsters. They would become gateways, tools, even allies in the exploration of the greater cosmos. Of course, these are dreams, but they are dreams, rooted in the same curiosity that has always carried us forward. The same longing that once pulled our eyes to the moon, to Mars, to the stars, now pulls us toward the black horizons. Each generation inherits the mysteries of the last, and each generation pushes a little further. So tonight, as you rest, imagine the far future, not centuries, but millennia ahead. Imagine the descendants of humanity, or whatever we become, gazing at black holes, not with fear, but with familiarity. Imagine their ships hovering at the edge of the abyss, their instruments unfolding like flowers into the darkness, their voices whispering across the stars. What lies beyond? What waits in the silence? For now, we may only dream. But dreams are seeds, and seeds have a way of becoming forests. And perhaps, one day, the human story will include not just the Earth, not just the stars, but the black holes themselves. If there is one truth about humanity, it is that our tools reshape our horizons. Fire gave us warmth and stories in the dark. The wheel gave us speed. The telescope gave us the stars. Each invention becomes a bridge, carrying us from mystery into understanding. And so, when we imagine the future of black hole exploration, we must imagine the tools that do not yet exist but one day might. Already, whispers of this future exist in laboratories and computer servers across the world. Artificial intelligence, once a curiosity, is now becoming a partner in discovery. Today, algorithms sift through mountains of data from telescopes. Catching subtle signals, our eyes would miss the flicker of a star as a black hole passes, the faint echo of gravitational waves. Tomorrow, AI may become our interpreter of the cosmos, weaving together patterns so vast and complex that no human mind could untangle them alone. Imagine an AI that can simulate black holes with perfect precision, creating models that evolve in real time, predicting how matter swirls and stretches. These digital twins of the universe could allow us to run experiments we could never attempt in reality, testing the boundaries of Einstein's equations, searching for cracks that reveal deeper truths. In this way, black holes become laboratories, not just distant monsters. And then there are the dreams of propulsion, the question of how we might one day send machines or even people toward these unreachable places. Chemical rockets will not take us there. Their fuel burns too quickly, their thrust fades too soon. But perhaps fusion, the same power that lights the stars, could carry us on long journeys across the gulfs of interstellar space. Or antimatter engines, bending physics itself into fire. Or drives we cannot yet imagine, whispering through the vacuum with elegance rather than force. Even if such ships remain fantasies for now, the thought of them inspires. To send a craft to the edge of a black hole would be to send it to the edge of reality. And perhaps we do not need to go in person. Swarms of robotic explorers, guided by AI, could take our place. Tiny machines, durable and patient, orbiting for centuries, relaying whispers of the abyss back to Earth. In their data, humanity might glimpse truths that transform not only physics but philosophy. For black holes are not just questions of science, they are questions of meaning. To look into one is to confront the strange intimacy between creation and destruction. They are the graveyards of stars, yet possibly the seeds of new universes. What does it mean that the universe creates such things? What does it mean that, in some equations, black holes may give birth to realities of their own? It may be that in the future, as technology grows, philosophy and science will walk closer together. Physicists might ask not only what is a black hole, but why do black holes exist at all? And philosophers may find themselves standing at observatories, staring into the same abyss as the scientists, searching for metaphors vast enough to hold it. Yet perhaps the most daring thought is this: what if one day we learn not just to observe or simulate, but to cross? The idea of a black hole as a gateway is ancient in modern physics. Wormholes, bridges, tunnels through space-time, they remain speculative. Yes, but not forbidden outright. The mathematics of relativity allows for them, fragile and unstable though they may be. And some have wondered, could intelligence or another one day learn to stabilize such a bridge? Picture it, a craft approaching a black hole, not to be destroyed, but to slip through. Beyond lies, not annihilation, but another cosmos, another realm of laws, another sky. Perhaps such travel will never be possible, but perhaps, in the farthest future, it will. And if so, black holes would cease to be tombs. They would be doorways, shimmering with possibility. Until then, they remain the most exquisite challenge in the universe. A challenge that draws us forward, demanding new tools, new minds, new courage. And as long as we dream, we will build. And as long as we build, we will come closer. So tonight, let your imagination drift forward through centuries yet to come. Picture the ships, the machines, the mines, all converging upon the black horizon. Picture a civilization, perhaps ours, perhaps another, gazing into the abyss, not with fear, but with wonder and whispering, "We are ready." When we think about the future of black hole exploration, we often picture machines, telescopes, and ships. But perhaps the most profound transformation will not be in our tools, but in ourselves. For every new horizon we reach, every mystery we confront, reshapes what it means to be human. Long ago, when our ancestors first looked at the stars, they saw gods, animals, heroes. The sky was not just distant, fire, it was a mirror for the human spirit. Today, we see galaxies and nebulae, not myths of hunters or maidens. But even now, the cosmos continues to reflect us back to ourselves. And nowhere is that truer than in the black hole. To look at a black hole is to confront paradox. A place where time slows, where matter vanishes, where even light cannot escape. It is a reminder that the universe does not bend itself to our comfort. It tells us that reality is stranger than our senses, deeper than our stories, and grander than our ambitions. And in this way, black holes are not only cosmic objects, they are teachers. What lessons might future generations learn from them? Perhaps humility, the recognition that even with all our technology, there are limits we may never cross. Perhaps courage, the willingness to approach those limits anyway, to build ships that sail toward the unseen. And perhaps imagination, the ability to picture universes beyond universes, worlds without end, hidden within the silence of the abyss. Imagine a civilization built not around the sun, but around a black hole. There are theories suggesting it might be possible. The immense gravity of a spinning black hole could power structures of unimaginable scale, feeding entire worlds with energy. Some scientists even speculate that if intelligent life exists elsewhere, it might already be dwelling near these cosmic engines, drawing power from their endless rotation. To us, this sounds like science fiction. To the future, it might be survival. But survival is only part of the story. Black holes may also shape our sense of meaning. Think of it. If black holes truly birth new universes, then every collapse is also a creation. Each one could be a seed, a womb, a portal. And if so, then the cosmos itself is a kind of garden, where endings and beginnings are woven into one. How might such knowledge change the way we see ourselves? Would we see our lives as small sparks, or as threads in a vast eternal fabric? Even the act of observing them could transform our culture. Just as the first images of Earth from space reshaped our sense of unity, reminding us that we live on one fragile sphere. Floating in darkness, the first close observations of a black hole may reshape our philosophy. We might realize that reality is not fixed, but layered. That existence is not singular, but plural. That the universe itself is more like a story unfolding than a machine ticking. And then there is the question of legacy. 4 black holes will outlast us. Long after the stars fade, long after galaxies dissolve, black holes will remain, slowly evaporating over unimaginable stretches of time. To imagine the far future is to imagine a cosmos where only black holes are left, whispering radiation into the silence. If humanity survives to see such ages, what will we have become? If we do not, what traces will we leave behind? Perhaps our ships, orbiting black holes, will drift for eons, carrying whispers of who we were. Perhaps our mathematics, encoded in light, will survive within their accretion disks. Perhaps we will vanish entirely, leaving only questions. And yet, even if we vanish, perhaps it does not matter. For to look into a black hole is to see ourselves, as part of a story that is larger than survival, larger than time, larger even than life. A story of the cosmos itself, forever folding and unfolding, birthing and burying, erasing and renewing. So as you close your eyes tonight, imagine not only telescopes and ships, but people. Imagine children of the far future learning their first lessons beneath a black sky lit not by stars, but by the glow of a distant accretion disk. Imagine poets writing verses about the silence of the event horizon. Imagine civilizations building philosophies, religions, and myths not around fire or sun, but around the mysteries of the abyss. In the end, perhaps the true gift of black holes is not knowledge, but perspective. They remind us that our universe is vast, and we are small. And yet, in our smallness, we dare to dream of them. And in dreaming, we become more than small, we become infinite in imagination. And so we return to the question that has lingered since the beginning. What are black holes, truly? Are they prisons of light and matter, or are they doorways to something greater? Are they cosmic engines, seeds of creation, or simply reminders that the universe will always remain, at some level, beyond our comprehension? Perhaps they are all of these things at once. Perhaps they are mirrors, reflecting back to us the limits of our vision and the boundlessness of our curiosity. To stare into a black hole is to stare into the heart of mystery itself. And mystery has always been the fuel of human imagination. As we look toward the centuries ahead, the possibilities unfold like constellations in the night. New telescopes may reveal their shapes in dazzling detail. Gravitational wave observatories may sing us their songs. Artificial intelligence may weave together the patterns of their behavior, opening truths hidden for billions of years. And perhaps, one day, ships will sail to their edges, daring to orbit the abyss, whispering humanity's presence into the silence. But beyond the science, there is something even deeper. Black holes invite us to wonder not just about the universe, but about ourselves. They ask, what will we do with our curiosity? Will we use it to build, to seek, to understand, even when the answers are hard? Or will we turn away, content with the comfort of ignorance? History suggests we will not turn away. From the caves of our ancestors to the stars above, we have always reached outward. We have always asked, what lies beyond? And each time we ask, the universe answers, not with certainty, but with new mysteries, new horizons, new questions. It may be that black holes will remain forever beyond our touch, or it may be that they will become the bridges by which humanity, or whatever follows us, steps into new universes, new realities, new stories. Either way, their gift is the same. They remind us that we live in a cosmos far larger than we can imagine, and yet we are part of it. So, as you lay here tonight, let that thought settle around you like a blanket. The universe is vast, but you are woven into it. The black holes, those distant, silent giants, exist in the same reality that cradles you. You are made of the same stardust that swirls at their edges, bound by the same laws of time and gravity. To dream of them is to dream of yourself. Breathe slowly. Let the enormity of space become gentle, not frightening. Picture the black horizon, soft and endless, stretching across your mind like a calm sea. Imagine drifting closer, not with fear, but with peace, as if carried on a quiet tide. Beyond the horizon, there is silence. Beyond the silence, perhaps another universe. Or perhaps only rest. And isn't that what we seek? In the end, rest. The same rest that stars find when they collapse into themselves. The same rest that galaxies seek when their light dims. The same rest you seek tonight, here, now. So close your eyes and let the mystery carry you. Let the questions dissolve into the quiet. Let the universe watch over you, as it always has. And as you drift into sleep, remember, the black holes are out there, waiting not as threats, but as reminders, that the story of existence is never finished, that endings may be beginnings, that silence may hold songs yet unsung. Good night, traveler of the cosmos. May your dreams take you beyond the stars, beyond the horizons, beyond the limits of imagination, into the vast, endless wonder that black holes so beautifully promise. There's something profoundly humbling about the thought of black holes. They are not just exotic curiosities of physics, or terrifying monsters devouring stars. They are also teachers, silent, patient, enduring. They do not lecture us in words, but in gravity and light, or rather, in the absence of light. And what they teach is simple. The universe is stranger, deeper, and more mysterious than anything our minds can fully contain. Think for a moment about what it means that black holes even exist. They emerge when a star, a vast, shining sphere of nuclear fire, billions of years old, reaches the end of its life. The star collapses under its own weight, folding in on itself until nothing can resist the force of gravity. In that collapse, the star's story does not simply end. It transforms into something new, something utterly alien, a point of infinite density, wrapped in a horizon where time and space themselves are warped beyond recognition. There is something poetic about that, an ending that is not truly an ending, a transformation that births mystery instead of silence. It's a reminder that perhaps every ending we face, whether in the cosmos or in our own lives, may conceal a beginning we cannot yet see. Physicists often describe black holes as information paradoxes. The idea is that if matter falls into a black hole, the details of that matter, its composition, its quantum state, seem to vanish forever. But in the laws of physics, as we understand them, information cannot simply disappear. And so, black holes force us into paradox. Do they destroy information, or do they somehow encode it on their surface, in ways we barely begin to understand? This is not just a technical problem for scientists. It's also a metaphor. We too wonder what happens to the information of our lives. The memories, the choices, the moments that define us. Do they vanish, or do they echo, carried onward in ways invisible but real? Perhaps the universe itself keeps a kind of memory, etched into the fabric of space and time, just as black holes may keep the memory of everything that falls into them. When we imagine black holes as gateways, we stretch that metaphor even further. A gateway is not just an end, it is a passage. To step through is to enter something else, something beyond. And whether or not black holes are truly portals to other universes, the very idea stirs something inside us, the longing to go beyond, the sense that there is always more. Astronomers talk about the possibility of white holes, hypothetical opposites of black holes, where matter and energy burst outward instead of collapsing inward. No one has seen a white hole, but in theory, they could be connected. A black hole here, a white hole there. A tunnel between. Could it be that the material devoured by one universe is expelled into another, Could it be that our own universe was born from such a passage, the outpouring of a black hole in a reality before ours? It sounds fantastical, but so did the very idea of black holes before they were discovered. For centuries, they were thought of as curiosities of mathematics, equations with no bearing on the real world. Now, they are central players in our cosmic story. Who is to say what today's impossibilities will become tomorrow's discoveries? There is something comforting in this. The universe is not a closed book. It is not finished, not static, not entirely knowable. There will always be new pages, new chapters, new horizons. Black holes remind us of that, even as they represent limits of light, limits of knowledge, limits of time. They tell us that limits are not the end, but the beginning of deeper questions. So as you listen tonight, let yourself breathe with that thought. The universe is vast, yes, but it is also alive with possibility. You, too, are part of that possibility. The same laws that govern black holes govern you. The same fabric of space-time that curves around a collapsing star also cradles your body as you rest. You are not apart from the cosmos. You are of it. Close your eyes and imagine drifting again toward the horizon of a black hole. See it not as a maw of destruction, but as a doorway, a quiet archway into something beyond. You do not need to fear what lies past it. You need only trust that mystery itself is part of the design, that beyond what you can see, there is always more. Perhaps in another universe, another version of you is listening to this same story. Perhaps in countless universes, countless travelers are dreaming of the same stars, the same mysteries, the same longing to understand. And maybe, just maybe, those universes are not separate at all, but woven together, connected by the silent gateways of black holes. Drift with that thought. Let it carry you gently, like a tide of stars. You are safe, you are held. The universe is vast, but so is your capacity for wonder. And tonight, that wonder can become your rest. Sleep well, dreamer of the cosmos. The mysteries will still be here when you wake. As we come to the end of this journey together, let's return to the heart of the mystery. Black holes. Silent, unseen, yet ever present. They sit at the edges of galaxies, quietly shaping the structure of the cosmos. They are not villains in the cosmic story, nor are they merely they are reminders that the universe is vast beyond measure, and that reality may hold dimensions far beyond what we can see or touch. It's strange to think that the very objects that once terrified astronomers thought to be impossible, or at least irrelevant to real life, have now become symbols of possibility. Black holes may indeed be gateways. Gateways not only to other universes, as some daring theories suggest, but also gateways to new ways of thinking. To look into the dark and imagine what lies beyond is a deeply human act. It is what we do best. Wonder, dream, and reach. Consider, for a moment, how small we are in comparison. A black hole the size of a single atom could weigh as much as a mountain. A supermassive black hole at the center of a galaxy can weigh billions of suns. And yet, from this tiny planet orbiting an ordinary star, we have been able to see them, to measure them, to even capture an image of their shadow. That alone is extraordinary. It means that even in the face of unfathomable immensity, our curiosity shines. Our minds are capable of peering into the abyss and bringing back light. But tonight, as you rest, you don't need to solve the riddles of physics. You don't need to carry the burden of equations or paradoxes. Instead, you can let black holes serve as a lullaby of the universe. Their steady presence, their inevitable pull, their quiet endurance, these things can remind you that you are part of something far larger than yourself, and that you are safe within it. Imagine now that you are drifting through a cosmic sea. The stars stretch around you in every direction, endless and serene. Far off, you see the glow of galaxies, like islands in the night. In the distance, a black hole rests, its horizon a perfect circle of darkness against the shining backdrop. But instead of fear, you feel peace. It is not an ending, it is a passage. You drift closer, and instead of falling, you feel yourself floating, like a leaf carried on a gentle current. You realize that this gateway is not pulling you apart, it is carrying you through. Perhaps, in that moment, you step into another universe. A place where the laws of physics bend differently, where stars shine in colors you've never seen, where time itself moves like a river flowing backward and forward at once. Or perhaps you step into a place not so different from this one, a reflection, a mirror, a dream. It doesn't matter. What matters is the feeling of passage, of moving from one mystery into another, with no fear, only wonder. In many ways, that is what sleep itself is like. Each night, we step across a threshold, from waking life into dreams, from noise into silence, from tension into release. We cross that boundary, and in the morning, we return, renewed, refreshed, ready to begin again. Sleep is our human black hole, our gateway, our portal to another state of being. So tonight, as you listen, let yourself surrender to that pull. Just as stars collapse into black holes, let your thoughts collapse gently into stillness. Just as black holes may open into new worlds, let your sleep open into dreams. Trust that on the other side of this rest, you will awaken renewed. You are safe here. The universe is holding you, just as it holds the stars, just as it holds the black holes. You belong to it, and it belongs to you. There is no separation, no distance too vast, no darkness too deep. Even the blackest hole cannot erase the fact that you are a child of this cosmos, born of its dust, carried by its light. And if black holes are indeed gateways, then perhaps every moment of your life is a gateway, too. Every ending a beginning. Every silence a song waiting to be heard. Every sleep a journey to another universe inside yourself. Take one last breath with me now. Slow, steady, easy. Inhale the mystery. Exhale the weight of the day. Inhale the stars. Exhale into peace. And now let go. Drift into the gateway of sleep. The story will continue, in dreams and beyond. The cosmos will wait for you, patient and infinite, until you awaken again. Rest well, traveler. Sleep deeply, and may the mysteries of the universe cradle you in the gentlest dark. Good night.